To We Want Picks. My name is Jacob, aka the Freckle Salamander, here with, I think we are happy to announce, my life partner, Angelo, the love of my life.
When you asked to do the intro, I should have known something was up.
What do you mean?
Is that it?
Don't do this to me now. We talked about this.
Okay. My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. We're going to break down the entire UFC 284 fight card, giving you our...
I thought we had... go ahead.
Our picks, predictions, and bets. I'm going to have to wake my daughters up and bring them in here and get my wife in here to show that you and I are not a thing.
You shouldn't be ashamed, especially not of me. I'm not ashamed of you. And I mean, if I looked like me, if I could date me, I'd put myself all over.
I'm positive you date yourself all over that apartment. I'm positive. Guys, we're coming off the heels. Before we break down 284, let's talk about Vegas 68. Big Papa Bo. Big Papa Bo. That's me, by the way. They call me. Bo Deadly. Dominated.
We both did so well.
Every single bet that I put on the board absolutely crushed. One was refunded because it was a draw. I gave you 4.2 net units of profit. The exclusive members-only safety parlay continues to rock and roll. 1.44 units of net profit. The total profit over the last 9 events is 15.88 units. That's only from the safety parlay. All of our other bets, all that stuff. We're absolutely killing it. Twitter was a graveyard of bad picks and bad bets last week. This is not that. We are your salvation. So become a premium member now. Go to WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click become member. It's $10 a month. Not $10 an event. Not $10 a week. $10 a month, and we are constantly rolling out new features on top of the picks, the bets, the optimizer for DraftKings, the fantasy plays, the rankings, all of that stuff. We have now added a line movement tracker, which we're going to talk about today because there's a bunch of ridiculous line movement on this card, and this is fully interactive like the rest of our charts, including the daily fantasy cheat sheets. It's $10 a month. That's 33 cents a day. You can't even, that's not even enough money to help one of those kids in the commercials. So you might as well just give it to us. They'll be fine. They're going to get all those Super Bowl shirts next week.
Wait, I wasn't really paying attention. What was that little pitch you just did?
WeWantPicks.com at the top. Click. Become a member. Guys, if you want $50, I will give you $50. Just go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. We have 4 different sportsbook betting partners. You use our link. You make a deposit. You make an account. We send you $50. It's affiliate marketing. They're going to pay us. And because we love our community, we're going to give you a piece of that pie. And all of us make some money together.
And I'll tuck it in your waistline if you want.
And don't forget about our exclusive merch.
That was the worst eye roll I've ever seen.
Oh. Shop.WeWantPicks. Because this intro is already long and it annoys people.
I know.
And then you're making it worse. Shop.WeWantPicks.com for exclusive merch. We're going to break down the card. Before I do, first of all, get the weird you and I are a couple thing out of here. Second of all, I've updated the graphics. While the rest of this community full of basement boys and, that crew of people are just starting graphics now. They're just showing up to the graphics game.
We're on version 10.
We literally might be on version 10. Like, it literally might be version 10. We have added the 2 most requested things for our graphics. We have added the record in the last 5 and their nationality and line movement. And this is one of 2 graphics. The second freaking slide has everything you could ever want about individual fighters. Let's go ahead and break down this card. And opening... What, you got something to say?
Yeah. What if, let's say you went to a school somewhere in the middle of the country and it was not private and you were unsure of countries and flags, what do we do then?
You're just going to have to deal with it. This is Russia and Brazil. Okay,
thank you. Can you if you don't mind?
Argentina. Now, I thought about that. Argentina's on here. There's a few on here. There's a 0% chance anybody's going to know. But, hey.
I'll guess them all.
They wanted it. Opening up the UFC 284 fight card, we have Zubaira Tukhugov taking on short notice replacement or short notice step up Elves Brenner. Zubaira Tukhugov. That's the clip that they clip it and they ship and they're like, this guy's an idiot. You're going to give
my
this guy your
God.
money? That's the clip. You got
He
it.
hasn't stopped drinking since Saturday.
I know, and it's just water. Zubaira Tukhugov is 20-5 overall, 2-2-1 in his last 5. He's coming back after a year away, and he's taking on short notice Elves Brenner, who has like 6 names and different last names. He's 13-3 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He is making his official UFC debut. And this is an interesting card because I know I do. Marble mouth.
I can't handle it. Sorry.
Marble mouth. Tukhugov is a nasty striker, but fights like a grappler. Diving at legs, shooting takedowns over and over and over again. And frankly, his stand-up is just okay. He fancies himself as a striker, but he wrestles nonstop. And his wrestling's probably enough to get this done. He has taken down pretty much every single opponent he's ever fought, including I am a mess today.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned for your health at this point.
Because you started this off.
This literally could be a stroke happening in front of our eyes. And I don't know what I do.
You're like, can I... Oh, hey, let me do the intro. You'll love it.
And then you're like, right. You invited me because you wanted me to. You were too afraid to make the announcement, and I have no issues hiding what we are. And then you kind of went back on your word.
Honestly, not on your best day. Like honestly, even if we were into the same things.
If you saw me walk into a bar, you'd be like, "This is what you'd be."
You're short.
Here, no, if I
I'm not. If I'm into that, I'm not into some short man. Look at me.
I'm telling you, this
6'3", 250, and look at that little baby.
This is you. That's what you would do if I walked in. These shoulders. I mean, look at.
Except
this.
like this, I would look and then down and be like, no thanks.
Yeah, you probably would. I wouldn't blame you for that either.
Anyway,
that thing's printing.
I got it. Tukhugov fancies himself as a striker. He fights like a wrestler, though. He does have some gaps on his feet, at least in my opinion. People think he's a nasty striker. He's going to be diving at legs in this fight. That is probably enough to get this done. Elves Brenner is a grappler. He knows what he needs to do to win this fight. He has like decent hands if you watch. It's very loose, and he's basically just buying time to get his jiu-jitsu going. But Tukhugov should be able to get the takedowns, control on top, avoid the submissions, and get this done. He opened, we have the new line movement tracker on the website, but also on the individual graphics. He opened at a minus 500. He's now minus 600. He's been bet even farther. And I think people are just loving that Brenner's short notice. And I get it. And Tukhugov should win this fight. But what's funny is he's not a minus 500 guy, meaning he's not this dominant force that destroys people. These odds are indicative of this matchup and this matchup only. And even then, I don't like these odds. Elves Brenner could win this fight. I'm not picking him. I'm picking Tukhugov. But this has Parlay Buster written all over. Like that. I'm not putting any money on Tukhugov here. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with. I was like with you until like the very end with the parlay buster and stuff like that. Obviously, anybody's going to be live in any type of matchup. I mean, these are fights and weird things can happen. But for Brenner to win this fight, he needs to get to the ground and he needs to end up on top when he's on the ground. And I just don't see a world in this fight where he ends up in a top dominant position against a guy that's such a good wrestler in Zuba. With that said, if I'm Zuba, I don't even know if I give him that opportunity to win a scramble, to do something off his back, because Zuba is a pretty good striker. He's not, like, as you mentioned, I agree, he's not a super dangerous guy, even on the ground or on the feet, so the odds probably are a little bit wide for somebody that's probably going to be there for all 3 rounds. But, on the feet, he can do enough against the as you mentioned, the kind of loose Muay Thai of Brenner. He's got that real snappy Khabib jab that he throws. Just boom, boom, boom. He's got good combinations, and he can take a shot as well. So even if Brenner lands a shot, he has a pretty good chin. For Brenner, you have to get in his face. You have to make this a dogfight. You have to try to hurt Zuba, so then he takes. I'm very passionate. I just slammed my remote for my thing, and it went flying. You have to get in a position where Zuba is panicking, taking a bad shot, and then he can kind of work scrambles from there. But I just don't see it happening. Zuba can win this on the feet, or if he wants to take to the ground, as you mentioned, he should be experienced enough to withstand all the submission threats. But I think it's a Zuba matchup all the way. The odds reflect that. It should be pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I agree. You don't think these odds are wide, though? Like, minus 600 seems a little absurd.
For somebody like that, as you mentioned, you want somebody that's not going to be in there for 15 minutes, right? You'd like to see him in the first round getting a finish, whether dominant on the feet or submission threat. And Zuba's really not that guy, so he should dominate for all 3 rounds. But I agree. It's like, I'm not putting money. I did put him in a parlay, but as far as like money line stuff, that is a little rich.
I wouldn't even put him in a parlay, but $9,600 in DraftKings. I'm not spending that when you can get. We'll break down this whole card, but there's other people right around that price point that I'm far more confident in to put up big numbers. I mean, it's because it's short notice. That's why the line is what it is. That's why the betting is what it is. And I get it. Short notice does matter. But as I said so eloquently, Tukhugov is not a minus 600 fighter. He's just not. This matchup is a favorable matchup, but he's not this dominant force that just beats the brakes off of people.
Yeah, and to your point, the 9,600 in DraftKings, this isn't going to be, I was thinking, well, if he got takedown after takedown after takedown, but Brenner's not going to try to get back to his feet. He has why would he want to get back to the feet? So if he gets taken down, he's going to play the guard game. He's going to look for sweeps. He's not going to try and get back up. So as far as like takedown stacking up for your money, and he's probably not going to be a threat really on the feet. Yeah, that's an expensive $9,600 for a guy like Zuba.
Speaking of expensive, you have like, no. This isn't some weird homoerotic Jacob intro. You have like 15 units already? Something stupid?
Yeah, they got
like something irresponsible.
It got out of hand a little quickly on me. The props dropped, and I was like, "Oh, look at this one! Oh, like that one!" Woo-hoo-hoo. But it's not all just ridiculous bets too. I've got some really really good ones.
No, they're logical.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll just say for 283. I had the minus 3.5 on BetOnline. It's a BetOnline exclusive. I love those bets. For the big favorites, you can knock their odds basically in half. And if you think you're going to dominate the fight, it's pretty much the same risk. I mean, obviously it's not. That's why you get better odds. But if you think they dominate the fight, man, and I've got a few of those, again, for this card, go to WeWantPicks.com, become a premium member. It is only $10 a month. You can go to $10. You can go to McDonald's right now, spend $12. All you're going to get is a little bit of diarrhea. We promise at We Want Picks, we will never give you a little bit of diarrhea.
From the mouth, for sure. Anyway, speaking of little diarrhea, Joe Todoro, $5 super chat. I'll let Angelo answer this. If y'all, Joe lives in Jersey, by the way. If y'all were a couple, who's the man, who's the woman? I think we agree Jake is more feminine. If we had like a producer, which we will, I'm sure we will eventually, it would clip in, thank you, Joe. It would clip in Jacob from 2 weeks ago and or like whatever the hell that was about the TikTok videos. Did you see my
comment below that? I think you probably did. Read out loud if you don't mind.
It must have been deleted.
Me and Angelo will take our shirts off, and we'll see who looks more like a man and who looks more like a woman.
Okay.
I don't think you want that, Angelo.
Don't you have a tattoo of dog's paws and a rainbow?
Not anywhere on my chest.
Okay. But you do? Okay. It's just above your ass crack?
I love my doggy. Females, if you're out there, I love my doggy, and I could love you. I could put your handprint right next to that dog paw if you're interested. Hit me up. I'll even put your name on there. I'll do it all. You know what's funny about this? This is a pretty funny story. Is I just got this EKG thing like off the internet, just it looked good or whatever. And then if you're a nurse out there, you're gonna know. I was dating a nurse, and after I got the tattoo, she was like, that person's like almost dying from the EKG. I was like, oh, whoops. So might have to add some more lines in there, fill it back in a little bit.
Next up at UFC 284, we have Shane Young taking on Blake Bilder. Shane Young is 13-6 overall, 2-3 in his last 5, coming off a year away. It was about a year away from the cage.
I think it's a year and a half, honestly. It was March of 2021, so almost 2 years, honestly.
Yeah, so he's been out for a while.
But yeah, sorry.
He's heading back. He's taking on Blake Bilder, who's 7-0 overall. He's making his official UFC debut after a successful Contender Series outing. Blake is an aggressive grappler. He's going to shoot the second he gets an opportunity. He's going to control you from there. He explodes on the ground, but what's really nice about him is he's not taking unnecessary risks. He's not going to chase his submission and then lose the whole thing because he dove for something or tried to go for a guillotine that wasn't there. But he will, like, when there's an opportunity to pass or sweep, he'll just boom, and he'll give it everything. So he's pretty explosive on the ground. Shane Young's a solid striker. He's out of that city kickboxing gym with Izzy and the rest of that crew. He does like to work forward. He's got a jab that he manages range with, and he controls the center. He's constantly pumping that jab out, constantly. And he doesn't really have that one-punch knockout power, but he does a nice job stringing together combinations. I like Blake Bilder in this fight. I feel like Shane, he's been out for a while. He hasn't won in years. Literally hasn't won a fight in over 2 years. And this just feels like he's on this card because it's a local card. I've used this analogy a few times, including my quick picks. It almost feels like when Al Iaquinta fought at MSG, he basically was done with MMA. But it was MSG, so he took the fight, and then Bobby Green knocked him out, and then that was it.
Oh, and who said that Bobby Green was going to knock him out? Bobby Green had a finish in whatever. Al Iaquinta hadn't been finishing whatever, and I told you guys Bobby Green was going to knock that dude out.
Congratulations on all your success. I think Blake Bilder wins this fight. I think he can get the grappling going, avoid that just nonstop jab. As I mentioned, Shane can get his hands going. He's got great combination, but he doesn't really have that knockout power. He's not as dangerous. If Blake can't get the takedowns, he's in trouble, but I think he will. And you can see that Shane opened as a favorite, minus 130. He's even a little larger favorite, just movement here. But I'm on the Blake Bilder side. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it's a little. We see the fight a little bit differently, but we came out with the same outcome. Shane Young is the better striker in this matchup. I don't think there's a question behind that. Is he a much better striker? We'll see if the year and a half layoff, he's tightened some things up. Because even when he's striking, you did mention the jab, but as far as like combinations and in and out movement and stuff, it almost seems like he's a little unconfident in his striking. Because what he loves, and obviously he's a wrestler at heart, but he loves the clinch positions, right? He loves to just kind of push people back to the cage, and then he'll dive in, get in those clinch positions, and maybe not necessarily go for takedowns, but he likes holding people in clinch positions. That's where it seems like he feels most comfortable. And he has good control in those positions, and that's usually how he can win fights, is kind of control people and do what he needs to do to get takedowns after that. The issue is, this dude Blake, you don't want his hands on you at all. I mean, at all, because he is such a good wrestler, and he's so good a grappler in general, and he's so good at getting positions. I think there was one fight where he like just grabbed somebody's left arm and like swung his body like like the guy was putting on a backpack, like a Blake backpack, and all of a sudden he like had his back. And as you mentioned, once he gets on top of people, his control is incredible. And not only is it control to where it's like some people can have good control, but they're not doing anything while they have control. He is looking for submissions, looking for this, looking for that, and keeping control the entire time. If this fight goes to the ground, Shane Young is in big trouble, even if he's on top, because he's a strong dude with good sweeps as well. Shane Young needs to keep this fight standing, no clinch positions. I don't think that he's comfortable enough, and Blake will get in his face. I think he initiates clinches, Bilder gets a sweep or a takedown of his own, and then it's bad news for Shane Young. So I'm actually pretty confident in Blake in this matchup, but we'll see how Shane, a year and a half, you don't know if somebody's going to go really good or be the same or be really bad. So layoffs are always pretty tricky.
No, I agree. And like I said, this feels like a disingenuous comeback. Like if this card was not in Australia, is Shane Young on a fight card right now? I don't think so. So, I'm on the Blake side. This is one of the closest fights on the entire card, though. So that'll be interesting. DraftKings, 8,300 to 7,900. I think you have to fade Shane Young in DraftKings because it's just going to be a million jabs. There's not going to be a knockdown. There's not going to be a knockout. He's all pump. So there's going to be a lot of the volume will be high. The volume will be high, but the scoring will not be, even if he wins. Where Blake, there is some upside there. He should get a takedown. He could get the finish. And he can really make something happen on top. So
he seems like a tough kid too. Tough kid. Not one of those because we kind of steer away from kind of the jiu-jitsu nerd sometimes, and Blake is more of that grappler than like a dominant wrestler, but he seems like a pretty tough kid. Yeah. No, and he comes forward. He tries to make it happen, right? He's not butt scooting and rolling for ankles. Make me sick. Yeah, make me sick.
I hear you. So we're both on the Blake Bilder side. DraftKings, I would lean towards Blake Bilder. I don't have him in the lineup that I've made so far, but I would lean that side here. If you guys are building DraftKings lineups, give our optimizer a shot. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a tool, has every single fighter. It is pre-loaded on Friday afternoons with projected scoring, projected ownership, and a bunch of other data. You then click a couple of buttons, right? What fighter you definitely don't want in your lineup if there is one. What fighter you definitely do want in your lineup if there is one. You click a few buttons and it will build lineups for you. It'll build your lineups for you. It'll build one. It'll build 150. and you use that data, you enter a bunch of tournaments, hopefully you win some money. And these big cards, the numbered UFCs, oh, I see that. Holy shit. The numbered UFCs are where you can make some real money because there's a lot of casuals popping out and playing DraftKings. WeWantPicks.com. At the top of the clip, become a member, and you will get full access to the optimizer. And we have a tremendous donation from I0. I0 with the $100 super chat said 1 unit on We Want Picks being the most profitable channel this week. I've been tailing the premium bets so far, and there's some pocket change.
Oh my God,
fellas.
can you even read?
I read that wrong. I've been tailing the premium bets, so here's some pocket change, fellas. I'll be back to being active in due time. 10 plus units net this week. Easy money. Thank you very, very much, I0. That is incredibly appreciated.
What he's doing, and I'll tell you right now, I mean, he obviously doesn't care about you. He's actually just trying to buy my love back. I think that he heard about our relationship, and because he hasn't been around. And I0, this is what happens when you're not around for somebody. They start looking elsewhere. And I, landed my eyes on this big guy right here.
Well, thank you very much, I0. It is
Is that
genuinely
your plan now to just act like it's just ignore it all?
It's pointless. You're like a child, and what am I going to do? I'm not going to act.
I thought about adopting.
I'm not going to
act last night.
I'm not going to act like some weird homophobe and make this a thing. I'm not going to play into it, so I just literally have to ignore it and move on. Then we have a $5 super chat. Sorry, Brandon, not to $5 super chat is incredible. So it's a hard act to follow behind I0, but this is incredible. Thank you very much. He said, "What's happening, fellas? You guys are scorching it with your betting picks. I'm along for the ride." Guys, both of you, thank you very much because you used the super chats to talk about how well our bets have done for you in premium. So thank you both very, very much. Premium has been a resounding success for us
to advertise
and you.
It's incredible. And I0, I do appreciate it.
It's very appreciated. Yeah, it's very appreciated. And we're glad to listen. We keep the price point. We keep the price at $10 a month because anybody in this space. And we're out here giving you like insight and the best possible picks and bets that we can. And we're giving you genuine.
We do the work so you don't have to.
We're giving you genuine net profit every week in and week out. But this is MMA. And I fully recognize that you can bet on what should be a short thing and somebody gets hit in the face and that's it. It's MMA. So people out there charging $60 per event, $60 a month, people charging those astronomical numbers for their bets. Not in this sport. You want to do that for football, basketball, where it's like 50 years of data can go into that? Sure. But this is a whole different world. We've been giving you a ton of profit. So, I mean, it's incredible when you guys share it back. Last, before we move on, Alvin Tyron Fairburn said, "What happened to Monkey Knife Fight?" I'm in Louisiana, so I couldn't get it anyway. Monkey Knife Fight is no longer. We literally, we bankrupted him. Go back and watch all the Monkey Knife Fight breakdowns. We have just been handing out free money, and they couldn't stick around doing that. Don't pour that on your desk. But they actually are around for a little bit longer, but they're ramping down. But anyway, thank you all very, very much. It is genuinely appreciated. Next up, at UFC 284, we have Loma Lookboonmee taking on Elise Reed. Loma Lookboonmee is 7-3 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, coming off that solid win over Denise Gomes. Elise Reed is 3-2 in her last 5, 6-2 overall, and she has alternating wins and losses. To me, this is a pretty straightforward breakdown. Loma Lookboonmee, this line hasn't moved an inch since it opened. Loma Lookboonmee could be a minus 400. A minus 400 favorite, and I would not do my typical, this fight's closer than the odds. This is legit. Like, Loma Lookboonmee should dominate in this spot. She's small for the division for sure, but she does have, I don't want to say power because she's not putting anybody out, but she's a very good Muay Thai fighter. Literally had a very solid Muay Thai career before transitioning to MMA, and she has incredible takedowns. Incredible takedowns. She is bodying people. She beat Denise Gomes with 4 takedowns. Sam Hughes with 4 takedowns in those fights. And she's a very talented Muay Thai fighter. Elise Reed is active. She does have some power as well. She's active. She's busy. She comes forward. but she got dismantled by Sam Hughes. And she can get pushed around. She can get out technique. She just works hard, has constant energy. So I think Loma Lookboonmee will be the much better striker. She's going to have the fantastic takedowns. Her takedown defense is 75%. And her only 2 losses in the UFC, she's 3-2 in her last 5. She lost to Angela Hill, who's like a foot taller than her and a legitimate veteran at this point. And she lost to Loopy, who's massive and just was able to bully her a bit. I think this is a great spot for Loma Lookboonmee. I know a lot of people hate betting on women's MMA, but I think your money's pretty safe with Loma. What do you think?
Yeah, I am biased. I will admit that right now. I am a big fan of Loma. I think she is I think honestly she's one of the most least talked about, but most dangerous females in the 115 division. Because as Angel mentioned, her striking, she's going to be the better striker in probably like 75%, 80% of these matchups. And now she has worked hard enough to get to, as Angel mentioned, the wrestling and the grappling and the judo and everything that comes with it, because she gets close with that Muay Thai. She gets to that Muay Thai, and then it's like, is she going to just start kneeing you? Is she going to take you down? Is she going to throw you? And when she gets on top, she is nasty on top too. She is throwing elbows. She is looking for stuff. And yes, she still needs to clean up some stuff because she will lose positions from time to time. But I mean, Elise Reed is not somebody that's going to come in and sweep a girl of the talent of Loma on the ground. So I am 100% in agreement with you. I think that this is some of the best value on the card. And the reason why I love Loma so much, and the reason why I love her so much in this fight, and even to get a finish in this fight, is because she has mentioned in the past confidence issues, mental health issues. She was never felt like she was like the person she should be inside the octagon. I'd like to read a tweet right now after her last fight, because that was a big moment for her. And one of the reasons I think that this is going to be a showcase fight for her, she's going to come out confident and put this girl Elise Reed away, who once you get out of the first round, she just starts going, I mean, her just down and down and down. And if you keep pressuring a girl like Elise Reed, she will quit and she can't get the finish, especially with Loma's ground and pound. But this is what she said. She said, "Today, I didn't just fight against my opponent. I fought against darkness I've been carrying inside me for a long time. This victory means a lot to me, and it is significant for many reasons." She said that. I think she is free of this mental trap she's had and comes out and looks like an absolute superstar, and I can't wait to see it. I love Loma in this matchup.
Yeah, we're pretty to be this confident on a women's MMA fight is usually, usually like a champ fight.
Yeah, in the first 2.5
undercard fight.
Yeah, in the first 2.5 minutes, you might see Elise, because she's a pretty good striker, but she's so cocky and confident. You might see her land a shot or two, but once Loma starts landing those big kicks and those big strikes, she will start backing up and she will start to fold. That's just what Elise Reed does.
Yeah, I mean, it should be an interesting fight. I'm looking forward to it. I don't have a moneyline bet on Loma, but I do trust her. I do trust her.
I have her in a parlay, and I got a better value bet on her than just the money line that I think is fantastic.
And I know what you got. And if you want to check out Jacob's bets, WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. Every week I do the betting video. I give most of my bets, pretty much all of my bets.
Loma's got no ground game. Like, how can you say that? Elise Reed wouldn't look. I mean, how could you?
You're talking. He's talking to the comment section, not to me.
Yeah. Tell me you've never watched a Loma fight without telling me you've never watched a Loma fight when you say she's got no ground game. That's the most ridiculous I've ever seen.
Yeah, no. I mean, haven't you realized by now, a lot of the comments, people just like to say absurd stuff. You know how many people are picking? People will pick the biggest underdog on a card. That's not what's happening here, but they'll pick the biggest undercard in the card in the comment section, so that in a 1 in a million chance it happens, they're like, "I told you, I'm a genius." That's what 80% of those weird takes are. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of bets on Friday for free. You don't need to be a premium member for that. But I'm going to give you like 7 units out of 20. You want to unlock the rest of them? WeWantPicks.com at the top. Click Become a Member. It is only $10 a month. And we're kicking off. How many weeks? Do you know how many weeks? Is it 12 in a row?
I thought it was 10.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But I'm not sure.
Next up at UFC 284, we have Jack Jenkins. Jack Jenkins looks like he talks like how you just talked. Jack Jenkins.
Yes, you think Jack talks like that? Actually, yeah. If you look at him right now, it's like, oh goodness, I just hope we both just have fun in here. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who wins or who loses. I just hope at the end of the day we can go back to our families healthy and happy.
That's literally, he looks exactly like, that's how he talks. He's taking on Don Shainis. Jack Jenkins is 10-2 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. He is making his official UFC debut, and he's taking on Don Shainis, who is 12-4 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that loss, that short notice loss in his UFC debut. And what's interesting about Jack Jenkins is when I broke down his tape, I watched his fights first. Then I watched there was like a clickbait video about like why Dana White didn't want to sign Jack Jenkins but did anyway. And when I watched his fight video, I was like, his striking's a little stiff. It's like one shot at a time. He just kind of comes forward. He's not, not really wild combinations. And then I watched the Dana thing, and it was like, he's just all striking, no grappling. And then in this fight, all grappling, no striking. And then I watched like 3 or more of his fights. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see it. He's a very good striker. Very dangerous leg kicks. He's got power. He is fast, and he hits hard. But I actually don't think he mixes in combinations that well. You're not going to see him throw 4 or 5 punches. Show me a fight where he's throwing 4 or 5 punches at a time regularly. You're not going to see that because he doesn't have it. We know that he can grapple really well. We know he can strike really well, but we haven't seen him do both in a fight either. We've seen him grapple or strike. We haven't seen both. He's fighting Don Shainis. Don Shainis is one of these gritty, tough, not amazing everywhere, but good enough in most places kind of guy. He's Massachusetts or something. Why?
Well, there's going to be some, sounds like some Northeast bias coming in here. Here we go.
Okay.
He's tough and gritty, you know what I mean? You come there, you see him in New York City, he's got a...
That's how I talk?
Yeah, that is how you talk.
Okay. Anyway.
Do your impression of me.
No. I'll get canceled. I'll get canceled immediately. Anyway, Don Shainis, tough, gritty Northeast guy. You know he's going to nut up and come out there and fist fight. But he's not great anywhere, but he's decent everywhere. He'll bomb on the feet. He'll grapple on the ground. He is coming off that loss to Sadiq Youssef, which is interesting because he doesn't typically initiate takedowns. That's not really his style. And then he did, and then he got sucked up into a guillotine. Listen, I think Jack Jenkins wins this fight. I think his leg kicks, he's going to chop the legs. He should be able to defend any takedowns if they do come his way. And we know he can grapple because we saw that in his Contender Series fight. But if Don just comes forward nonstop wrestling, he could definitely make something happen. So I like Jack Jenkins. I'm not necessarily 100% all in on the hype as a lot of people are. I haven't seen, honestly, in 100% sincerity, when did you see a fight where that dude was fluid as hell, stringing together 4 or 5, strike combinations in a row? Because I can't find it. Which fight was that? Tell me.
I will say right now that when I watched the tape and when I watched the film, what I compared Jack Jenkins to and the way that he strikes, and I'm glad you mentioned the leg kicks as well, the way he just is able to throw everything together. He's nice, tight in the pocket. He's in and out. He doesn't really get hit too often. When he does, he rolls with it pretty well. He's constant pressure. Doesn't throw 100%. I mean, you'll never see him overswing, right? You never see him cock back a big right hand. Everything is boom, 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 body, boom, boom, head, boom, leg kick, boom. Everything is so technical and tight, and the pressure, it reminds me exactly like Alexander Volkanovski. Obviously not at that level, but they fight they're the exact same way, just nice and tight and pressure, and they're working everything. You don't know what they're doing. And the accuracy is what stood out to me. It felt like every single strike that he threw, whether a leg kick or a body shot or at the head, every single strike was landing. He's just so accurate. And that's how Volkanovski wins all these fights too. It's like he throws everything at like 75%, right? He doesn't put everything on everything, but just boom, everything is just landing, snapping heads back. And against a guy like Don, he is who he is. He's just in there to brawl. He wants to be a wild dude, tuck his head, dive down with big overhand rights. Jack Jenkins is going to be way too technical. He's going to see that stuff coming, and he's going to have those counters ready. And I think he can break down Don because Don is going to be looking, especially the hometown kid, this and that. He has been looking for a big knockout early. He's going to get tired. I don't see this leaving the second round. Honestly, Jack is able to weather whatever nonsense Don does. If he wants to try and shoot takedown, I think Jack can defend those. He lost a a fight and avenge that fight to a grappler, and he had some pretty good takedown defense in there. Anyway, I think it's on the feet. Jack is able to counter off, lay on some volume, and put Don away. I absolutely love Jack in this matchup, 100%.
Listen, I think Jack wins as well. I don't know. I know he's a technical striker. His striking is not sloppy at all. I just didn't see, I don't know. I expected, like the way you described it, boom, 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 boom. I didn't see that. I saw boom, reset. Boom, reset. I didn't see boom, 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 kick, punch, kick. I didn't see any of that.
Well, that was a 7-punch combo you just said, and those are very rare.
That's okay. Well, Chris.
Well, I mean, you said I didn't see boom, 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 boom. I didn't see that. I don't think I've seen that ever in the UFC.
I guess not. Except Chris Weidman had
He's
a
fighting
standard.
again, you know that? In a few months, I think.
I did not know that. But the first time he fought for the 185-pound belt against the GOAT, Anderson Silva, he threw, to knock him out, I forget the number. It was like instead of his traditional 4-strike combo, he threw an extra one, which was the 5th, and that was the one that caught him. And people like praised him for years, being like, he added that one strike to the end of that combo, and that's what got that done. So
Like Leon.
Like Leon.
Like
anyway,
Alex.
You spending the $9,300 on Jackie Jenks?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think that Don is that good. I mean, he's going to be in there. He's going to brawl. As you mentioned, he's a tough dude. I just don't think he's that good.
I think skill for skill, technique for technique, Jack Jenkins is probably better, but Don's super tough, and he is dangerous, and he will come forward. He's not a coward.
Yeah, he's going to come forward. I mean, and just...
You know, we tweet these videos to the fighters, and then you always get all the heat.
I guarantee in the first 30 seconds, you're going to see Don in this position right here.
Like the Rocky freeze frame at the end of Actually, my favorite moment in any Rocky movie ever was in Rocky V when him.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I asked.
That's like your new favorite thing.
I know.
It's so annoying. When him and Tommy Gunn were fighting, and then they both threw rights, like a big looping one like that, and Rocky caught his in the air, like hooked it, and then started beating him in the back of the head with his left. It was awesome.
Well, those are illegal strikes.
It was in an alley.
Oh. All right.
It's the end of the movie.
All's fair in love and war.
Yeah. People hate Rocky V. I liked it. I thought that was great. Whole dynamic changed. Anyway, Jesus Christ. Back on track. Guys, I also think I will spend the $9,300 on Jack Jenkins.
Oh.
My criticism.
All that. The amount of shit that you always give me when I do stuff like that is unreal.
But I didn't say I don't think he's going to win. It was.
You literally said he's not even good.
Okay. I literally. Do you know what literally means? Yeah, because you're literally 5'6".
A stupid asshole.
Pretending to be. You're in rare form today, and this is a big card, and we're gonna have a lot of new viewers, and they're gonna think that they're gonna be like, nope,
this is not. I would say that this is not normal, right?
It's definitely not, and we have all these new people watching, and they're gonna be like, nah, not for me. Those two. Now, when people say those two fruitcakes doing breakdowns, they're not gonna know who you're referring to. Before, everybody knew who that was. Now, could be us because of you.
Wait,
congratulations. I'm not going to say that. No, that's disrespectful.
People say that?
People say
I can't believe that people say anything mean about anyone on the internet.
Me too. Very surprising. Very surprising. I'm not even going to plug premium because
I wouldn't sign up.
I definitely wouldn't.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Yep. Here we go. There's two fighters on this card that everybody says you look like. So here come the ginger comments.
Two? Loma?
No, Jamie Mullarkey and well, I guess you'll see the other one when it pops up. There's two fighters that people
look at me right now. There's no way I look like Jamie Mullarkey.
You have the same mouth. Yep. Yeah, dude, you legit kind of look like Jamie Mullarkey. Anyway, Next up at UFC 284, we have Jamie Mullarkey taking on Francisco Prado. Jamie Mullarkey's 15-5 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off a close win over Michael Johnson 6 months ago. Francisco Prado, 11-0 overall. He is undefeated with all finishes. And when I was breaking down my tape, I even texted Jacob. I was like, Jamie Mullarkey kind of sucks, right? And you're like, no, he's got power. Listen, I'm not as high on Jamie Mullarkey as most people. And sucks is an extreme. He doesn't suck. Of course not. But I do think he's a bit overrated. He's a well-rounded guy. He's just sort of decent everywhere, right? He can grapple. He actually started his career as a grappler. He can strike. He's knocked out 2 people in the UFC back-to-back. So all of a sudden it's like, whoa, Jamie's got power. But he also has had some chin issues in the past. And that Michael Johnson win, a lot of people don't think that was a win. So Jamie Mullarkey, very well-rounded guy. I don't think he's as dangerous as the 2 knockouts in the UFC would tell you. And at his core, he is a grappler. He's taking on UFC newcomer Francisco Prado. Francisco Prado is a powerful striker. He comes in hot, big looping shots and head kicks. He's got a nice Muay Thai clinch. He has insane power, but he also keeps his head straight up in the air, and you can get to his chin because of it. He can grapple as well. He's never like his plan A, but he will duck down, grab the legs, just pick you clean up. He will pick you clean up and grapple from there. And, I don't want to just keep calling back to like incredible underdog picks that I've made recently. I have on the last 2 cards. 2 cards in a row, I picked the winningest or the biggest winning underdog on the card. Bruno Ferreira last week. Fugit. I am not going as far as picking Francisco Prado, but this does feel very similar to the Bruno fight, because Bruno was explosive on his feet and could grapple. Like literally, they feel very similar. The only difference, the only reason I'm not going to full-blown pick Prado here is because Jamie is a grappler at his heart, and I think he should be smart enough to shoot, right? I think he'll grapple. The flip side to that, this is in Australia. And he may get caught up in the, I've knocked people out before, I can knock people out again. And if he's going to swing toe-to-toe with Francisco Prado, he's going to get put out. He will get folded. He will be put out. Jamie Mullarkey should not be in your parlays because there is that risk there. And these breakdowns, this channel, it is not only about telling you who to pick, it's also telling you who to avoid. So I would avoid Jamie Mullarkey. I would leave him out of parlays. I get it. People like him, a UFC newcomer. But if you think fighting in front of a home crowd changes your style, then you definitely should not have Jamie Mullarkey in here because Prado could put his ass out, no problem. What do you think, Jakey boy?
I think you pretty much nailed that breakdown. I don't know how much I'm going to add here. I am going to go with Jamie Mullarkey. I think that was your pick as well. Officially Jamie
Mullarkey because he's the better fighter. I just don't know if he does what he's supposed to do, he'll win. He's the better fighter because he's more well-rounded.
That's a bunch of malarkey. Someone put it in the comments, so I had to do it. But I would have interrupted Angelo much earlier if I would have remembered that. Yeah. I'm picking Jamie Mullarkey, but as Angelo mentioned, I don't love it. And you mentioned he might go to the wrestling if he's smart. He's not going to wrestle. He's not going to wrestle in this fight. And I don't think Prado's going to wrestle in this fight either. Listen, Prado is a very confident, undefeated fighter making his debut in a big moment. He is going to stand and bang because he likes to brawl. And there's nothing that Jamie Mullarkey loves more than brawling. I don't know why, because if he went to wrestling more and was a little bit more calm and cautious, he's a pretty good fighter. I mean, he's pretty fast in the pocket. He's got good striking, decent power. He is a little bit chinny, but he kind of works through that, right? He gets knocked down and then boom, he's back. He's working through stuff. But he does get hit. And as Angel mentioned, if this turns into a fire fight, this is all of a sudden 50-50. Now, if they are brawling, I still trust Jamie more than Prado because, as Angel mentioned, Prado a little bit chin in the air, and he's not as technical as Jamie. Jamie will throw looping shots, but they're a little bit tighter than Prado's, and I think he's going to have the speed advantage as well. So if these guys get in the pocket and start throwing, I would lean towards Jamie because he should have the speed advantage and beat him to the punch. But that's not a minus 260 shot you're taking, right? You don't want to be like, oh, if they start throwing, I think Jamie's going to land the first shot, so let me lay 260 to win one back. That's not the type of guy you want for 260 money, and that's the type of guy that Jamie Mullarkey is going to be in this fight. I think that he can beat him to the punch and win this war, but the value might be on Prado in like a first round, second round TKO. I don't think it's going to be super early because Jamie is tough, but once he dropped once or twice, it could be lights out. But with all that said, my pick is Jamie Mullarkey. I'm not doing anything on the Mullarkey side. The value seems to be in Prado in this matchup.
Yeah, we completely agree. The one thing and you didn't even say this, but
that's the Australian flag.
Congratulations.
That's 1 for 1.
I'm not a value guy, meaning I agree with you. It's closer than the odds, therefore the underdog is technically the better value. I only bet on fighters that I think win. I am not it's close, he could win, and that's not who I am, which is why I'm not going to bet on Prado. You could potentially, I saw somebody in the comments say Prado finish only, so wins inside a distance, decision, no action. I don't like that either, because he could gas. He's the one flying out to the other side of the world. It is his UFC debut. There's too many unknowns on his side. Jamie Mullarkey is going to swing and bang with a dude that's going to hit way freaking harder than him. I'm going to leave that alone. See, here's the problem. Here's the problem.
And I said that I was going to wait to see if these odds widen too. So I haven't played this yet, but this was the one I was keeping my eye on because I could see Jamie Mullarkey being a minus 300 by the week's end. Like I just feel like people think
it's moving. He opened at 250. He's
right.
270
I think he's going to be minus 300, and then I might revisit these odds. But Prado round 1, round 2. I don't think it gets out of the second round. They have the round line at 1.5. I think that's a pretty good round line. Over is minus 185. If it was 2.5, I'd probably play the under. But, I mean, round 1, round 2, KO, TKO, Prado in a firefight, plus 1,200 for the first round, plus 1,600 for the second round. You know, that's something to keep an eye on to see if those move throughout the week. I mean, Jamie Mullarkey's plus 350 in the first round, and this other dude's plus 1,200. That's 4 times.
Yeah, listen, I get it. I get
it.
I literally. Everybody
get a little hard with that stuff.
When Jacob wins, he's up like 17 units. When I win, I'm up 5. Like there's a fundamental difference.
And we're locked and loaded this week. If you missed it earlier, whoa, you're locked and loaded this week, folks. Hold on to your butts.
That's funny. I say that. No, never mind.
Whoa. Let's slow down and let's revisit that. Hold on to your butts. You say what to who?
When I
at the spa?
When I pick up the girls from school in the golf cart and I take a sharp turn, I say hold on your butts. But I didn't want to say it because people, he's got a golf cart. I didn't want like braggy whatever. But I started to say it, and then not saying it was going to sound so much worse than what people were going to assume.
At the Turkish bath. Hold on to your butts, boys.
Yeah. So I was like, let me just, I'm fine. I have a go. Like, let me just get it out there. Anyway, Jacob does have an insane, in all seriousness, an unreasonable amount of money on this card. He admittedly is being reckless with it, but that he doesn't need that money, and that is an important factor here. Meaning, it's you should not be betting with money that you.
To me, guys.
No, in all seriousness, like because we get like sarcastic comments like, oh, okay. Like somebody had a funny one before. I can't wait to make a couple of bucks so I could buy my dad cigarettes and hope he comes back from the store. That's a funny comment. Clearly sarcasm. But there are some people.
Cigarettes. You like those Camel Crushes? I was a big fan back in the day. The Camel Crushes. Back when you go to the bar and you could smoke in the bars. We'd go to the bar, pop open those Camel Crushes. You know what those are, right?
No, you strike me as a Virginia Slim kind of guy.
I mean, these are basically what that is. You can start smoking. There's like a little like a bead in there that you pop, and then the cigarette turns into a menthol cigarette. It's like a menthol thing. So you can be smoking a regular cigarette, you pop it. Now it's turned menthol, and menthol, whew, that knocks your socks off, baby. I don't know if you ever smoked a menthol cigarette, but whoa, no, really?
I grew up in a smoking.
Your arms, and your feet from the knees down go completely numb. It's incredible. I don't smoke anymore, but I'll tell you, when I was 21 years old and I was going to the bars, I was putting those things down, and it was amazing. But don't smoke, kids. Don't smoke. It's bad.
So my mother is an immigrant. She's not from this country. She smoked in the house, in the car, at dinner. Like my whole life was, But I think that's why I never smoked, because I'm like, this is gross. I didn't want nothing to do with this.
Oh, like, I thought that too because I watched my grandfather die from smoking, and I still was like, "Hey, what's this? I mean, if he died for it, it's got to be pretty good, you know." And once you smoke that first one, it's like, I get it now. Holy shit! It literally, it's incredible. Don't do it though; it's bad, guys.
Not me. If you guys want to unlock all the bets, WeWantPicks.com at the top. Click become a member. It's $10. We're talking about $10 here. Jacob's got like 17 units or something absurd going. Don't tail them. Don't blindly tail. Look at the bets.
And some of those are because I'm not live streaming, right? I'm not live streaming. I like to do live stream bets. So some of these are like a little live streamy type bets. I still like the bets. I mean, I'll never place a bet that I don't expect to win, right? I mean, I think that I can win every single bet. So it's not like I'm out here just doing stupid shit.
Well, and I'm assuming you will still do live bets, but you won't. Those go in the premium Discord because.
Oh.
Yeah, you forgot. Premium members voted for the next feature. They wanted live bets for pay-per-views, so we created a channel just for them on the Discord, and that's where you're putting them.
Join the Discord. It's free, guys. It's free.
The Discord is free, and you can unlock the premium channels there. Anyway, lots of random crap going on here. Let's break down the next fight. Before I do, I made that fruitcake joke. People were like, you talk about fight night picks. I wasn't talking about anybody. I just said that. Those two dudes put in work. I'm not going to make fun of. Not only do they put in work, they mind their own business. I am never going to bust somebody's balls that puts in work and minds their business. It's the Twitter community that decided they hate my guts for no reason. They don't mind their business. I will bury those fools in their parents' basement where they sit. Oh, Jesus Christ. Next up, at UFC 284, we have Kleydson Rodrigues taking on Shannon Ross. Kleydson Rodrigues, 7-2 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off the loss to CJ Vergara. Shannon Ross is 13-6 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, and he is coming off the knockout loss. A knockout loss on the Contender Series. This is an interesting fight. This is a fight where, in theory, I love Kleydson Rodrigues, and then I feel like I can't trust him all the time. And he's a very well-rounded guy. He's a big prospect. He's got a ton of potential. He's got versatile striking. He'll mix in kicks really well. He has power. Then he has solid jiu-jitsu. He's got great takedown defense. He works in his own takedowns. He's got nice trips from the clinch, like a Greco style in wrestling. He is coming off that loss to CJ Vergara, where he was really creative with his strikes. He had some well-timed takedowns early, but started to fade a little late. And if we know CJ Vergara, that dude never stops. He's just going to stay in your face the whole time. Shannon Ross, pretty well-rounded guy. He is basically a wrestler. That's his primary discipline, but he does get sucked into just back and forth firefights. His Contender Series loss, watch that fight. That dude is tough as hell. He took a beating, got up, kept coming, and then ultimately got put out. But he's a busy guy. He fights hard. He's got solid takedowns, but he's very, very hittable. Kleydson should win this fight. Klaydson's the pick. The one thing that worries me here is like Klaydson's got all the talent in the world, and I'm not basing this next statement off anything other than just a weird feeling. I just feel like he's going to be one of these guys that is so incredibly talented, he's never going to live up to it. I feel like he's going to lose these weird fights like this. He should have beat CJ Vergara. He's so much better than CJ. He should have blown through CJ, and he didn't. And I do think he wins this fight, but I just worry that if you're going to pressure him and back him up like crazy, you don't give him any room to get his kicks going, and he may have some trouble. So Klaydson's the pick. I have not bet on him. The line movement says I should, but I haven't, and I won't. That's the pause. Now you talk.
Klaydson's, the extremely better fighter in this matchup. Absolutely everywhere. In the striking, in the grappling, in the wrestling. Wherever he wants his fight to go, he's going to be the better fighter. And you mentioned the CJ fight. I think that was the best thing that could have ever happened to this kid, because there was a lot of moments in that fight where 90% of the people in that position would have just quit. Literally would have just turtled up. They would have quit. They were getting beat on. CJ's in full mount. You know what this kid did? He stayed in there. He stayed tough. And every single... I think in the second round, CJ, and I could be misremembering, had like 3 minutes of like full mount control. And by the last minute of the round, Kleydson reverses the position. He finally finds a sweep. He didn't give up. He knew the round was over. I lost this round. He was still working for it and found the sweep. It ended up on top in that round. I actually loved that fight for him against a tough guy, as you mentioned, CJ, because CJ does not stop. But Kleydson did not. He had his own moments in that fight, but he did not quit. And he showed when push comes to shove, and it's time to be the hammer, because we mentioned all the time, hammers and nails. When it's time to be a nail, rather, he's always the hammer. When it's time to be the nail, he can be the nail and turn back into the hammer in a fight. And I love seeing that in that last fight versus CJ. And what was a pretty, it was a interesting fight at times, I would say. But Kleidson's the much better fighter in this matchup. He proved how tough he was in his last fight. In case something happens in this fight, he can overcome adversity, and he's just way, way better than Ross in this matchup. And I absolutely love him, and I think that this is a breakout performance, and he's going to dominate this fight wherever he wants to take it.
Listen, I don't disagree. I mean, he's the pick. I said he's genuinely, unbelievably talented, and I'm not. That whole, I don't think he's going to live up to his potential. I don't even know where that's coming from.
It's called him like a pussy.
Absolutely not. Did I say that? And
Rewind it.
Okay. I just, I don't know. I hope I'm dead wrong, because he is very, very, very talented. So I hope I am wrong. I just feel like he's going to be the type of guy that we're all going to love, and he's going to be in those close type fights and not get it done. But he should absolutely beat Shannon. Like you said, he will be better everywhere in this matchup. $8,800 you spending it? Sounds like it's great value.
I think it's pretty good value, because I think that he comes in and uses his wrestling a little bit more in this matchup than he normally would. And if he does that, I think he can I think he can finish this fight early if he uses his grappling. So I like the value.
Yeah, I mean, I think 8,800 is probably pretty safe. Like I said, I do think he wins. I'm not going to bet on him. I don't love the line movement, and so. He still doesn't have... If he had a UFC win, it'd be a little different, right? But he doesn't. If you want to unlock all our bets, weonpicks.com, click Become a Member. We have like a little donation chain. What is it called? What do you call it?
A train.
Chain. I was going to say chain gang, and I was like, that's right. $2 super chat from Quint Lazenby. I0 is the man. Like the stream. He's talking about the $100 super chat from earlier. Thank you very much, Quint. I owe you Prize Picks plays. You will get them. I promise. Prince Vegeta, keep it up, boys. Well, thank you, Prince. And we will get Jacob under control, and then we'll be good to go. And then a $5 super chat from Rocky Rodrigues. Jacob, have you taught Angelo about the pussy? I was so hesitant. I was so hesitant to read that. I don't know what it means, so I guess we'll just leave it alone.
Next up.
All right, next up it is. I guess text me what it means. Next up at UFC 2. Shut up! I gotta do the intro. Man, I gotta Google it. Next up at UFC 284, we have Josh Culibao taking on Melsik Baghdasaryan. Josh Culibao's 3-1-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that win over Seng Woo Choi. Jacob's gone. Is he laughing that hard? And he's taking on Melsik Baghdasaryan, 7-1 overall, 5-0.
We just lost everything. You might want to redo that.
It's not on YouTube?
No, I'm saying on this right now. I mean, everything went away for 5 seconds. You just redo the intro.
It was only on your screen, but I'll go ahead and redo the intro.
Sorry.
Yeah. Absolute ass clown.
I was just making sure. Sorry.
I thought the bussy thing got you going.
It got me going.
Next up at UFC 284. I'm not doing the intro again. Everybody saw the intro. Josh Culibao, 10-1 overall, 3-1-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that win over Seng Woo Choi. Melsik Baghdasaryan is 7-1 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. He's coming off 2 official UFC wins in a row. This is the tightest line on the card as of now. It opened a little wider. It has tightened. And I get it. This is a super, super tough pick. I am going to lean Culibao here, right? He's a solid striker. He's aggressive. He's tough. He throws heat. He's always live for a KO. He is willing to engage in a dirty inside the pocket type fight. He has no problem making it ugly. And I just think that's going to be sort of the difference here. I think he's going to keep it an ugly, nasty, in-your-face fight, and he can take that away. He's coming off that win over Sang-Woo Choi, where he had incredible timing. The most impressive thing from that fight, it felt like he saw every strike coming. Like his defense,
even the ones that knocked him down, for sure.
His defense was.
He was
incredible.
like, "Oh my God, here it comes."
I thought
Great
his defense
vision.
looked incredible in that fight.
Yeah.
Melsik Baghdasaryan, on the other hand, didn't look great in his last fight. He started his career off with 5 knockouts in a row before a decision on Contender Series, and then now he's strung together a couple wins in the UFC. He's aggressive. He's always moving forward. He's got diverse striking. He does a great job mixing things up. He's going to go to the body. He's going to go to the head. Lots and lots of pressure. He's coming off that win over Bruno Souza, but if Bruno Souza had just a touch, just a tiny bit more pressure, Bruno Souza was going to win that fight. Dude, let's bet $100 on this fight. I'm done talking. I'm done with your stupid effing faces. $100 straight up, absolute buffoon. I like Culibao, and I think his defense is going to be the difference here. Melsik looked like shit in his last fight. He absolutely looked like shit.
Dude,
he
Culibao got knocked down twice and almost finished in the last fight. You're praising his defense.
Had that work, and he got right back up. Yeah, but Sang-Woo Choi, who came at him with insane volume, Melsik barely beat a short notice dude. With no volume.
What kind of style is the guy?
Go ahead, break down the fight. Just break down the fight.
What kind of style?
I'm done talking. You've annoyed the shit out of me.
What kind of style was he fighting with?
I'm done. You've annoyed me. I'm done.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was karate style, and it was a pain to deal with because he's very, very good at it. But Melsik was still pressuring, and doing what he could. But those point-style fighters are just hard to fight. I mean, that's just what it is. But he did enough to win that fight. He normally is that wild, crazy guy. The karate style gave him some issues, but that's not normally how he fights, and that's definitely not how Culibao fights. This is going to be a normal fight for Melsik. Culibao is going to be much more easy to engage, where Culibao is a little bit low volume, but that guy will throw and will brawl with people. And I do agree with Angelo, even though I was making fun of him for getting knocked down twice. He is very, very slick in the pocket with his head movement, with his defense, but he does get hit. I mean, at times he does get hit, and he does get dropped because of it. And I believe that Melsik is the better striker in this matchup. He's going to be much more technical. He has just as much power. And the thing that's going to give Culibao issues is that leg kick. You saw him throwing it. He fought that last fight very, very smart. He said, I can't get in range with my hands and stay safe against this karate guy. I'm just going to beat the fuck out of his front leg and just leg kick, and just drilling that thing. I think he comes in with that same game plan versus Culibao, because Culibao likes that side-to-side movement, starts beating up that front leg, chews it up, gets in his face, and throws better, tighter combinations with just a touch more power than Culibao. I think Melsik's the better striker in this matchup. I enjoy Josh Culibao. I think this easily, if they engage, can be the fight of the night, because Culibao, even if he does get dropped, we've seen he can come back. He's fine, so I think this could be fight of the night. I think Melsik's the better striker, a little bit cleaner. I'm going Melsik, and I accept your $100 bet.
Done. Last time we did this, I took your money because you're a buffoon, and I am not. The best comment I've seen so far is when I got angry at you. Dr. Y said, "Daddy, chill." That's a pretty good.
Daddy, chill.
That's a pretty good comment.
What the hell even is that?
Daddy, chill.
We do have a $5 super chat from Alan making fun of me. Listen, I'm not 40. I'm under 40, but I guess I don't have the hip young guy terms. Angelo, I'm still laughing. I think what he was referring to is the famous heavyweight fighter, Harry Bussy with a B. I have figured out through context clues what it is now. Thank you all very much. Thank you for the $5 super chat. 8,200 in DraftKings, 8,000. You're going to spend the 8,000 since you're so positive?
I think one of these guys needs to be on your line. You need to figure out what side you're on and probably put one of them in your lineup. So Melsik is probably going to be in mine, honestly.
I agree with the statement of it's dead even money. There's probably a finish in this fight, and you're going to want to be on the right side. This is a lot like the Terrence McKinney-Bonfim fight, where it's like you're going to need one of those guys in your lineup, and hopefully you're on the right side because one of them is going to score a ton of points. And
I think, did you just say exactly what I said and then try to make it so it was like you said it?
I said it smarter. Somebody said you're looking like a broad. That makes sense. Next up, at UFC 284, we have The undercard featured prelim. We got Tyson Pedro taking on Modestas Bukauskas. Tyson Pedro is 9-3 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off 2 knockout wins in a row. Modestas Bukauskas is 13-5 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off 2 regional wins. He was cut. The UFC said, beat it, get better. He left, beat 2 people. He is now back. Tyson Pedro. Guys, we have the line movement tracker on the website, right? Premium
is that
members,
real?
That's the real line. Let me explain how this works. First, I'm being sincere. First, we do have the line movement tracker on the website for premium members. So I know a lot of you are premium members and you just link your Discord and you don't go to the website that much because you get it all in the Discord. The website is useful because we have interactive charts and graphs, including the daily fantasy cheat sheets for both FanDuel and DraftKings. We also have the line movement tracker, which is one of them. The line movement tracker has opening odds, current odds, the implied win probability for the fighter, and then it tracks the line, right? Red, green, which way it's moving. That's interactive. You can sort, you can find your spots, you can bet. The way odds work, Jakey boy, is the odds get released
a while ago.
Well, the odds get released, and instantly, the sharps will jump on it. Instantly. And these are people that pay a ton of money for software, for scrapers, for alerting systems that say there's new odds for X. And they will instantly pound a line that doesn't make sense to them, right? Then
it's like an IPO.
Then the line levels, and then you get what's called normalized odds. So the odds a few days after the initial odds are essentially the normalized odds. And then you have the general public's fluctuation. The public is what's moving the line after that, not the sharps with the big money. Pedro opened at a minus 1,000 favorite and was instantly bet down to the 300 range. Instantly. Now he's sitting at a minus 237, and it's actually continuing to shrink. So the sharps and then now the general public has decided no way this dude should be that big of a favorite. Tyson Pedro is a grappler. He's a grappler. You're going to think he's a knockout guy because he's coming off 2 knockout wins in a row. But do not let that fool you. He is a well-rounded guy, more of a grappler than anything. He does not have the best takedowns, but he has no problem charging forward and then working for one. If you overcommit, if you throw a bomb, he's going to duck, shoot, and get it done. Very well-rounded guy. Obviously has power in his hands and is a very good grappler. Modestas Bukauskas is a pretty good striker. I think this is somewhat of a short notice fight, if not full-blown short notice. He's a good striker. He's dangerous on his feet. He tends to react, meaning he's usually backing up and then counter-striking instead of just pushing forward. And that pace, not pushing the pace, has gotten him into trouble in the past. He does have the tools to win in the UFC. He just hasn't done very much at it. He has a 100% takedown defense through 4 attempts, through 4 UFC fights. I do think Tyson Pedro wins. I think the opening line was absurd. I'm not you're not going to see Jamie Mullarkey or Tyson Pedro in any parlays for me. Let's put it that way. But I do think he wins. He obviously has power in his hands, and he's got the grappling backup plan. And Modestas Bukauskas, while he does have the tools, did struggle in the UFC for whatever reason. What do you think, Shaky Boy?
Yeah, I guess I agree where the odds are right now. The biggest thing that we need to realize here is that Modestas is not Harry Hunsucker. Modestas is not Ike Villanueva. Those were, layups that they gave Tyson because he is a name. He is a very, very good talent. He had a long layoff, so they gave him some layups, and he did exactly what you need to do in those fights, right? First round finishes, had no issues finishing either one, but those guys are like, if you're going to finish anyone in that division, those are probably the 2 guys that you're going to finish. Now, Modestas, he can be finished, right? He can be hit, so Tyson can be there. But the biggest question mark is we still have no idea if Tyson Pedro is even good after this layoff. I mean, we haven't even seen him have a real fight up to this point. He hasn't even gotten hardly any octagon time to show anything. He's landing like weird body kicks and dropping Ike, and he's kind of doing. I mean, we still do not know if when push comes to shove, how talented is this guy? And I think that Modestas is going to be the guy to really show that. Not saying that Modestas is going to come in and steamroll this guy, and he's definitely going to win. My pick is Tyson Pedro, but I think we're going to find out if Tyson Pedro is real in this fight. And he could come in and smoke Modestas, and I think that's a pretty solid win for him because Modestas is a pretty a decent striker and a decent dude. But we're going to find out that if this gets out of the first round into the second round, and these guys are actually fighting, if Tyson Pedro is as advertised. And I hope for the sake of the division and everything that he is as good as we think he is. But at this point, it's hard to trust him because we still haven't seen a complete fight from him with takedowns, with a little bit of adversity. So, I think if there's a parlay buster, it could be this fight. Tyson should be the better fighter, and he's got multiple ways that he can win. But I'm not going to trust Tyson with my money until I see Tyson have an actual fight that he does still win. So Tyson should win, but there's so many question marks, man.
There's a lot of question marks in the chat. A whole bunch of over 1.5, over 1.5. Don't touch that line because literally anything can happen. Literally,
I don't think Tyson's won a fight outside of the first round. I don't think I'm pretty
sure but he could win in the first round. So the point is,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just
over 1.5.
You said first round, so I remembered that because I have incredible photographic memory callbacks. So,
congratulations on all your accomplishments with that memory of yours. $8,900 in DraftKings. I'm full fading Tyson Pedro, and that's not like an official. I'm just $8,900. I can't spend that. There are other fighters on this card that are a little more money that I'm positive are going to win. And you actually said it perfectly. You don't have good takes very often, but you said it perfectly when you said we still don't know if he's good. And that's true. Yeah, 2 knockouts in a row, but so, against who? Who cares? So I agree with you. Well done there. Are you going to spend the $7,300 on Modestas?
No.
Why that annoying little...
You like my giggle.
We have a $5 super chat from Hari Turu. How does the DraftKings pricing work? I've never used it. So, the DraftKings numbers you see on the screen are for DraftKings Fantasy. It's not sports betting. It's not a sport. It's fantasy. I don't know what state or country you live in. It's not available everywhere. But you have a budget, and you have to use that budget to draft 6 fighters at their price points, and then you compete against other people who have also drafted a lineup, and then whoever scores more wins. You can make money. You can make a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or you can just play against your friends for $5-10. But that pricing is how much this person costs in that fantasy environment. It's a lot of fun. If you want to go to weonpicks.com/DraftKings, we have a free league where you guys can play against each other, compete against each other, learn, give it a go. Next up at UFC. Why is it silent? Are you there?
Yeah, I was watching a video.
Absolute creep. Because I saw.
I was watching Kim posted in the Discord the. Go ahead. Sorry.
Jesus Christ! I thought like something gave out because all of a sudden just.
No, I was being polite. I watched the clip that Kim.
Yeah,
posted,
nothing more polite than watching YouTube videos on your phone while on camera.
I muted.
Very polite of you. Very polite of you.
What are you doing under your desk? That's not very polite either.
Next up at UFC 284, we have Jimmy Crute taking on Alonzo Menifield. Jimmy Crute is 12-3 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off the knockout loss to now champion Jamal Hill. Alonzo Menifield is 13-3 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off the KO win over Misa Cirkunov. These odds surprised me when I first broke down this fight, right? Pay-per-view, you get the odds a little earlier than the normal fight week cadence. I didn't do the full tape study. I saw the names. I saw the pricing, and I was like, Alonzo Menifield hits like a freight train, has very good takedown defense, and Jimmy Crute, bit chinny, and if he can't get the takedowns, Alonzo Menifield's going to put him out. So then I bet a quarter of a unit. I have a quarter of a unit bet on Alonzo Menifield at plus 185. If you break down the tape, you look a little deeper. Yeah, that's the take, man. Jimmy Crute is a good grappler. He does have one-punch knockout power, and he's a good grappler. He even got 3 takedowns in the fight against Anthony Smith where his leg just broke. But frankly, if he can't get these takedowns, Alonzo Menifield is going to put him out. Jimmy Crute can be chinny, and Alonzo is by no means a technical striker. Any technical striker in this division that's got a solid jab will beat and turn Alonzo Menifield's face into hamburger meat. Just touch him up, do whatever they want to do. But that is not Jimmy Crute. Alonzo's going to defend the takedowns, bomb away, and get this done. So I like Alonzo Menifield here in this spot. I'm only betting a quarter of a unit. Same thing I did with Bruno Souza or Bruno Fajeda. Same thing I did with Fugit. I don't like to just, there's an underdog. Here's all my money, right? I'm going to.
You would do that if it was a lock, though.
Plus 185 is almost triple your money. So quarter of a unit on Alonzo. I do think he gets this done. You can see the line is moving. Open plus 195, now plus 170. I think it'll tighten up a bit. But I will say, if Alonzo loses, he's going to look bad. He actually looks bad in wins, frankly. So he's going to look even worse in a loss. But I do think he can get it done. What do you think, Jakey boy?
He's got some monster calcium buckets there. I will say that. Alonzo, to me, is a guy that I wanted to fade. We talked about it on the live stream during his last fight, and I mentioned this to you as well. We were excited when he won his last fight because we realized this guy is not very good. He's not very technical. He is the Duplessis of the 205 division. He's going to blitz forward. He's going to find knockouts, but when he's finding those knockouts, it is not with good technique. It is chin out there, and this guy can be dropped as well. I mean, he's not like super chinny, but I mean, he was dropped by like an OSP, like little baby jab and finished that way. So he can't get hit and he can't get dropped. So I was waiting and praying for Alonzo Menifield's next fight because I assumed after all these first-round finishes, he looks the part, he showed off his takedown defenses last fight. I assumed no matter who they were going to match him up with, he was going to be the favorite, and I was going to fade the shit out of him. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, underdog. I mean, if Jimmy Crute must be dominating in this fight if he is a 2-1 favorite against the guy as dangerous as Alonzo Menifield. Then I start watching Jimmy Crute, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy sucks. His striking is awful. Like, it is bad. When I watch it, and you guys can see this too, and I've mentioned this before, and I think I even mentioned this in his last fight, like while we were watching this last fight or whatever. It is a high guard, right? I mean, he's looking the part, he's right here with it, but the way he's bouncing and zero head movement, it looks exactly like Ronda Rousey. Even the way he's like throwing strikes, it's like what the hell? Who taught this guy to punch this way? And zero head movement. Anthony Smith, they were talking about on the broadcast how dominant and good the jab of Anthony Smith was. Has anyone ever heard about Anthony Smith having an incredible jab, piston-like jab? No, it's because Jimmy Crute's going like this, bouncing up and down and not moving his head. Anthony Smith's like, okay, boop. Oh, shit, that worked. Oh, shit. And he's just like, oh, shit, how do I avoid this jab? He has no clue in the striking defense. His takedowns are okay, but Alonzo Menifield showed the good takedown defense in his last fight versus Misha. You put 2 and 2 together here, and you got Alonzo Menifield blitzing forward against a guy that doesn't move his head. This should be an easy-peasy, lemon-squeezy Alonzo Menifield win, and I can't believe it because I don't even like the guy. I think he's overrated, but I think he smokes Crute. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't know, man. Jesus. Obviously, if Crute gets a takedown, he's very, very dominant in those positions. But this is bad news, man. This feels like bad news.
Listen, I'm never as extreme as you, but I mean, we're aligned here. We're aligned. The funny part about this is Jacob doesn't know my picks and I don't know his, but we'll talk about certain fights before these. Like most of the time, the reason I get so annoyed is like his stupid eye rolls because I don't know what his picks are, and then he rolls his eyes at me and I Bart Simpson strangle him. Anyway, the other day I was like, dude, Alonzo Menifield beats Jimmy Crute. I'm like, Jimmy Crute sucks. And you're like, dude, me and the whole live stream, we're going to fade Alonzo. Alonzo's terrible.
That's
this, that,
all
the
I
other
talked
thing.
about.
Then the next day, you're like, oh my God, Alonzo's going to win this fight. Like, Jesus Christ.
Literally, I couldn't wait to fade this dude a lot. Just like I can't wait to fade. Actually, Duplessis is going to smoke Brunson. But yeah, eventually, I mean, if Alonzo wins this, he might be a big favorite in his next fight, and we'll fade him then. But it'll be eventually.
He's going to do it. He's
literally,
champion.
I don't think he's that
We'll
good.
get him.
I don't think he's that good. But
his striking is sloppy, but it's incredibly powerful. And his takedown defense was beyond just his last fight. He had solid takedown defense in other fights as well. 8,676 in DraftKings. The problem is if you're doing a cash lineup, you don't really want a lot of these feast or famine people in your cash lineup, right? You need winners. You don't necessarily want these giant numbers. But I think Alonzo Menifield is pretty solid because I don't see him getting taken down and submitted instantly. Even if he's taken down, like he's got solid takedown defense. Jimmy's going to have to work for that. And Alonzo Menifield has been to several decisions. He's not like a first round or bust kind of guy. He can fight to a decision. He has cardio. That Ed Herman fight, cardio. The William Knight fight, cardio. He's not, you look at the guy, you assume he's knockout or bust, and he isn't. That's the only reason I'm not doing William Knight by knockout. Well, first, I do my bets.
By knockout, you said.
Sorry, Alonzo Menifield. The reason, well, first of all, I do my bets before the props drop, and then I do additional bets. But I'm going to leave it money line on Alonzo Menifield. There's still a ton of value in that. Yes, if he wins, it is most likely by stoppage, but, you know.
I mean, that dude Crute is just so hittable, man. I mean, it is just, even if Alonzo, in my mind, I mean, it's gonna backfire 100%. But in my mind, even if Alonzo Menifield didn't want to knock this dude out in the first round, I think he literally would accidentally knock out Jimmy Crute. That's how hittable Jimmy Crute is. Like just a little shot that it's not like one of those big, he's not expecting to knock out Jimmy Crute. Maybe like a tight little hook or like a little check this or whatever. Jimmy Crute's just so hittable that he might just drop him on accident at that point. By the way, the odds are plus 160 now, so they're moving even more.
Also, this guy doesn't know math. Plus 185 is not double your money. It is almost triple your money. You ass clown. LOL. If I give you $100, you give me 185 and my 100 back. So I get $285 back. Math. A plus 100 fight. If the odds are plus 100, I give you 100. You give me my original 100 back and the 100 I made. That's 200. So plus 100 odds is double your money. Plus 200 is triple your money. There's a lesson. And these are the people in the comment section giving us their locks and their picks and their bets. We have a couple of super chats. Quint Lazenby. Another super chat from Quint Lazenby. Alonzo, round 1 KO. Lock of the week as well. All right. Well, we don't know what Jacobs is, but Quint's lock of the week is Alonzo Menifield. I think a lot of us are aligned here. Then we have a $5 super chat from Rocky Rodrigues. I agree, Angelo. I don't trust Jimmy Crute here. He hasn't looked the same since losing.
Damn it.
I caught it. You know why I caught it? You know why I caught it? You might have gotten me. Barry looked weird. Like I just saw Barry and I was like
Barry, you think?
Yeah, 100%. You spelled it like a fruit. So you're not going to get me. Appreciate the try though. Did that dude respond with the math? Nope, he didn't. It's always interesting how that works.
I don't agree with that math.
It's literally math. It's not really alternate facts. That's how math works.
I think if Stephen Hawking was here, he would have rolled his eyes because it's about all he could do. But
I was gonna say,
but he would have rolled his eyes for sure.
Next up at UFC 284, we have Justin Taffa taking on Parker Porter. Justin Taffa.
Disclaimer.
We don't need a disclaimer. Justin Taffa, 5-3 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's fighting Parker Porter, 13-7 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. Listen, Jacob's calling for a disclaimer because I know Parker personally. We're friends in real life. Here's the reality of it. Even if I separate myself from that situation, Parker Porter beats Justin Taffa. I know I've made this analogy before. For some reason, Parker became the Nickelback of MMA cap shows. Everybody thinks that everybody thinks that it's funny and, oh, Parker, let's make jokes. I actually don't understand that because Parker Porter has actually an okay UFC record. He put together 3 solid wins and his only 2 losses. One are to Jonathan Almeida, who might literally be the heavyweight champion by the end of this year. And then the other UFC loss was a short notice loss on a week's notice to Chris Daukaus after Parker had a 1-week-old child, got the call, you want to go to the UFC, not training for a camp, nothing. He's like, yeah, of course. And then he put together 3 wins. The reason, and here's the bias aside, the reason I like Parker to win this fight, if we think about who Justin is, Justin's a heavy-handed striker, right? We haven't really seen him defend any takedowns. We haven't seen him get any takedowns. He's a heavy-handed striker. Doesn't move much, just big power, big chin. That's it. That's Justin Tafa. What we also saw happen is he got smoked by Jared Vanderaa. Jared Vanderaa beat the piss out of Justin Tafa. Jared Vanderaa is no longer in the UFC. No longer there. He couldn't beat anybody except Justin Tafa. And how did he beat Justin? Just stay in his face. Jabs, 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 jabs. Just stay in his face. Parker Porter literally set the heavyweight significant strike record. He set that record. And then he broke his own heavyweight significant strike record. Parker Porter is all volume. And he could do it for 15 minutes. He can dance around. He's got solid footwork. Stay in his face. If he wants to grapple, I imagine he can take Justin down. Justin's got massive thighs, so he may have really good takedown defense. We really don't know.
Bigger.
I like Parker Porter to win this fight. That is an objective breakdown. I saw people in the comments, oh, FYI, he picked Parker to beat Jalton. Listen. He's my actual friend. And frankly, that was 3 Jalton Almeida fights ago before we knew what Jalton Almeida actually was. We know what Justin Tafa is. We know what he is. And he's a punching bag. And Parker Porter's going to touch and go the same way that Jared Vanderaa did, just that with better footwork, and he can work in grappling if he wants. So you guys can make jokes and do all that bullshit, but that's 100% sincere breakdown. What do you think?
I will give the actual unbiased breakdown. So if you didn't agree with that, that's fine. Listen to what I'm telling you right now. Justin Tafa, people are acting like this dude is knocking out everybody that he fights. Oh my God, you're going to fight Justin Tafa? Oh, you get knocked out. You get knocked out. Nobody fights Justin Tafa and doesn't get knocked out. He knocked out Juan Adams in the UFC. That's it. That's the only person he's knocked out. He just lost, as Angel mentioned, to Vanderaa, and then he comes through and knocks out Harry Hunsucker. It's Harry Hunsucker. We just were talking about him with Tyson Pedro. I mean, that's the guy that you give to a guy to get knocked out. So, yeah, he knocked out Harry Hunsucker. So you think that just because he loses to Vanderaa, he knocks out Harry Hunsucker, that all of a sudden, oh, my God, Tafa just knocking out everyone. It is the most asinine thought process that these people have in their head that this guy is just knocking out everyone. He's not knocking out anyone except for people that are absolute bums that get knocked out by everybody. Greg Hardy knocked out Juan Adams. Anyone can knock out these people that Justin Tafa's knocking out. When he gets against people that actually know what the fuck they're doing in these fights, he doesn't win. He doesn't win. He's 5-3. Parker Porter knows what he's doing in this fight. He is the better overall fighter. He has the wrestling. He has the volume. Tafa can sit back there with that right hand cocked, ready to go, but I doubt it lands. Obviously, if it does land, Parker Porter could get knocked out. I'm not playing Parker Porter with my money, but I'm saying he is the better overall fighter, and people to act like he's not you're stupid. I'm looking at you. You're stupid if you don't think he's the better overall fighter. You are absolutely stupid. I'm picking Parker Porter as well.
Thank you. No, I'm with you. Listen, I got Parker Porter at plus 125. I put a half a unit on him. Premium members, you have seen that bet there for a week or so. I got him at plus 125. He is now plus 101. You lost 25% of that line. You lost 25% of that line in the last.
Actually, I just checked it again. You know what it's at right now?
Is he a minus?
Plus 100.
It's inching down. So you have officially lost 25% of the, actually 33%. No, 25%. Never mind. Dummy. Even that math is wrong.
I think it's 80%.
That math is wrong. Anyway, you lost 25 points on the line. If you were a premium member, you would have seen that bet when we put it up, and you don't you shouldn't be just tailing bets blindly, but the logic was there. The raw notes are there. All of that is there for premium members to break down, see, and jump on. This line Parker will probably be a slight favorite because as soon as Justin's an underdog, the line will go back. This line will just keep doing this because, it is heavyweights and you're not going to go wild. I'm very confident in the half a unit at plus 125. I like that quite a bit. I like Parker at $7,800 in DraftKings as well. Obviously, it's heavyweights. He can get knocked out. Anything can happen here, but I think he's going to be busy. I think he's going to put in work. He could potentially get takedowns. There's going to be a lot of volume, and he's at a sub 8,000 price point where Justin's only chance is a one-punch knockout, but Parker has solid footwork and can move around. What do you think about the DraftKings?
Yeah, and I don't understand this whole Parker's got poor fight IQ. When is it? I don't know. Is there an example of that where it's like he's been winning fights? He won 3 in a row and then he lost to Almeida. He got immediately picked up and slammed. What's he supposed to do? That's not bad fight IQ. The guy's just dominant fight. I don't know if there was a fight where it's like, oh my God, this guy. Just like, what the fuck? I don't know.
Even in the loss to Chris Dawkins. And if you, I interviewed Parker on the channel last year, or year and a half.
I think
ago.
it's literally somebody just reads that and then that's just what they assume. Like somebody read it in a chat somewhere about or they heard one person say it and they're like, oh, definitely, without watching that's all this is. I mean, people just repeat everything that they think is fact, and most of it's just fucking stupid.
Even Parker, in his loss to Chris Dawkins, when they were standing next to each other, they talked to each other behind the ref's back real quick. And I asked him, what did you guys say? And he was like, Chris told me that was the hardest leg kick he's ever been kicked with. And his leg is like bright red and it's like a mess. So Parker,
both their thighs you mentioned the thigh size. That is going to be a thing in this fight. It is going to be a sight to see the size of both of these men's thighs. It is incredible. It is incredible. I'm talking, it is. Okay.
And these are heavyweight fighters, so literally anything can happen. So the moron who shows up on Sunday, I get it, man. It's heavyweights, and it's a fist fight. Literally anything can happen. But we're both on Parker, pretty confident in that, at least as confident as you can be in two striking.
Yeah, and there's comment right there. After Tafel hold on, let me get in the, after Tafel wins, don't get quiet then, Jacob and Angelo. Listen, we just said that it's heavyweight fights. Anything can happen. Nobody's saying that Parker Porter is a fucking lock, you idiot.
Stephen Ferry did.
Oh. Steven, if you want to go after anyone, that's the guy right there. That's the guy, not us. We're not saying he's a fucking lock. He's just the better fighter. And if
100%.
you're not picking the better fighter, I don't know what you're doing.
No, 100%. And before I move on, Sean P. This is why words matter. The words that I used were, that is almost tripling your money. You didn't hear me say the word net or profit, did you? I said triple your money. If you hand me $100 and I give you $300 back, you tripled your money. You turned 1 to 3. You have $200 profit, but you turned 1 to 3. Words matter. Pay attention. Just like when I do after the fights, and I break down, like, we have X units of net profit, I'm very specific to say net profit. Because I agree, you can't count the 100 you got back. So that's off the table when we're talking about profit. All I said was plus 285 is almost tripling your money.
Stupid ass.
We are being a little harsh on the live chat. $2 super chat from Rocky Rodrigues in his big brother voice, Parker, Angelo's friend, Porter. Is BB Big Brother? Like the show? The director's voice?
Yeah, I don't know if that's what that is or not.
Well, thank you for the $2 super chat. Appreciate it. And yeah, of course I'm biased.
I put in a video submission for Big Brother. Still waiting.
I'm still waiting to see the video. I've been asking for years. Oh, Bruce Buffer. Jesus Christ, are we stupid? Next up at WeWap Picks. Next up at UFC 284, we have Jack Della Maddalena taking on Randy Brown. This is one of the more interesting fights on the card. Jack Della Maddalena, 13-2 overall, 5-0 in his last 5, coming off the stoppage win over Danny Roberts. Randy Brown is 16-4 overall.
What is so funny?
I'm reading the comments while doing my brain. I can do so much.
Oh my God! I just wish we would keep this professional.
Randy Brown, 16-4 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He is coming off that win over Francisco Trinaldo, this is a really interesting fight. We got two primary strikers. Randy Brown, super long, and he uses his reach well, right? I'll always make comments if somebody's tall and long and people obsess over the reach, but lots of fighters don't know how to use their reach, right? Or they don't use it well. Randy Brown does use it well. He's a good striker. He uses that range. He's dumb tall for the weight class. In the next slide, we'll see all of those stats for you. He does have some nice takedowns as well. He'll trip you. He's got solid jiu-jitsu on the mat. He's really fun to watch. He's coming off that win over Francisco Trinaldo where he was taken down, but he had a knockdown over, yes, he's old, but a really tough veteran in Trinaldo. He landed more strikes, and he threatened with some submissions. Jack Madalena's a striker, and he's got that like plot forward, react backwards, come back forward type style. What is interesting, though, is he's got an insane jab, insane volume, constantly coming forward, pumping. But in his last fight, he was bombing away, just bombing away. It was like out of character for him, throwing big looping shots, trying to get that knockout, and ultimately he did. But that wasn't a normal Jack Della Maddalena fight. Normally, he's jabbing and staying technical. The one and only thing that worries me here, so Jack's going to be the pick. I do think he wins. You can see this line is tightening. He was a minus 350 favorite, now only a minus 300 favorite. The reason I think this line is tightening is because people are looking at it and being like, damn, Randy Brown's really good. And if Randy Brown can keep you on the end of his strikes, you could have some trouble. I think if Jack fights his normal fight, busy jab, lots of jab, stays in his face, he should have no problems. If he fights Randy the same way he fought Danny Roberts, Randy might be able to find his own jab, manage range, and Randy could have some success. But Jack is going to be the pick. The minus 300 odds are totally fine. Minus 300 was fine as well. But there is some disrespect here. Like, you could argue the odds are wide. And there is some disrespect here for Randy. But I do think Jack's going to get it done. What are you rolling your eyes for?
Yeah, I'm just going to read word for word my breakdown on Twitter. If you guys didn't know, I do a full fight card breakdown on Twitter, literally every single fight, and it's basically cliff notes. But I think this is the best breakdown of the fight. When I wrote this out, I was very proud of the breakdown, and I'm just going to read it. So it basically, I'm starting off with Randy Brown. Basically, Brown needs every inch of length. Jabs, front kicks, I think Angelo mentioned this as well. If he is able to stay at range, he has some good success. So jabs, front kicks, anything to keep Jack out of that boxing range. The issue is he keeps that distance early, but as the fight goes on, hands drop, the jab stops, and the brawling starts. And Brown does not have a ton of power in the pocket. He needs his length for his power. What that means is he needs that distance, right? He needs to catch people at the end of those very long punches. In the pocket, those long arms can't generate the same power as those long shots. He also slows down. Jackie D is the real deal boxer. Nice high guard, footwork, pressure in and out, feints. It feels like he is going to draw out the big shots from the big strikes from Randy early with the feints and pressure, which will allow him to get inside early. I love the way that Jack throws feints, and it feels to me like Randy in this moment, underdog, big fight, big card, main card, is going to be pretty charged up early. He's going to throw heavy, and if Jack is able to get in his face and throw those feints, he's going to come with those big shots, and Jack can counter those perfectly. So, and Jack also does not chase finishes. The finishes find him with technique and natural power. He doesn't overswing. Rude Boy isn't overly powerful or a fast striker. His length gives people issues, but Jackie's a perfect complement to that. Randy is going to be charged up early, will overswing and miss, and Jackie D will be there for every counter to break him down. 1.5 is a good line. 2.5, I'd take the under. I see another highlight coming in front of the hometown fans for Jackie D. I love him in this matchup. Love him.
Reading the script, it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah. Full fight card breakdowns. Follow me on Twitter. You can get all that information free of charge. Easy peasy. I love Jack. I just don't think that Randy's, as you mentioned, if he can keep the range, there's no way he can keep the range. There's no way. He slows down too, man. He slows down. Jackie's going to be all over him, baby. All the fuck over him. You want to bet this one? I
hope so. I mean, we looked at the volume. No, we're on the same side. If you look at the volume, 8.45 significant strikes landed per minute. That is insane volume. But he is hit. He's hit more than Randy, 4.22 times.
It doesn't look like he's ever been hit.
I mean, imagine just being like, I'll just leave it.
You know what's funny, too, is the side profile is even worse. It's like the Mike Perry nose. Like, it literally is just, like, completely flat.
Yeah.
The side profile.
But Jack Del Maddaleno is the other person a lot of people say you look like, minus the nose part.
What?
You get both. You get Jamie Mullarkey and Jack Maddaleno.
That's not even close.
Tell it to the comment section. Don't tell it to me. Anytime they talk about me, it's all Ben Affleck. So you get these people, these creatures. Sewer chewers
Ben
for Jacob.
Affleck.
Ben Affleck for Big Papa Bo. $9,200 in DraftKings. Are you going to spend that money?
I think he finds the finish. I don't think Rude Boy's as dangerous as people think he is. I mean, he's not. I mean, like kind of like the Justin Taffa thing. People think that he's like this, like a Chitty or a Jamal Hill or somebody that just is just like flatlining people with these nice sniper shots. I just don't see it in those strikes. If you catch him at range, he could be. But Jack is just he's a good boxer.
Yeah, and I don't think Randy's super dangerous. I just think he manages that range really well. And if Jack is going to come out swinging wild, looking for a knockout from the hometown crowd, he could just get jabbed up. But normal game plan should be totally fine. You want to unlock all of our bets for UFC 284, head on over to WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. It's $10. It's $10. Like, what are we talking about here? It is only $10 an entire month for every bet, every pick. The DraftKings Lineup Optimizer. Full DraftKings analysis, slate ratings, ownership projections, same exact stuff for FanDuel.
How much
all
is
sorts of prop games. It's 33 cents a day. You can't even feed a kid in one of those commercials for 33 cents a day.
I think usually it's like a quarter, honestly. I think it's 25 cents or something like that. In the arms of the angel. What's the next line? Feed me the line. What's the line?
I don't know. Those kids are about to get a whole bunch of Super Bowl shirts, so they'll be fine.
That's more. I think Sarah McLachlan is more the
animals in the cages.
Animals. Yeah, and those are honestly a little bit more sad than the people.
Okay, Jesus Christ. $5 super chat from Logan Moore. Best value in the game. Let this be a sign to become a premium member. Keep it up, guys. Thank you very much, Logan. And guys, we've been genuinely appreciated. We passed the 1,500 premium member mark. It's been successful.
Did
for
you even say anything about the
successful
10,000 subscribers? Ooh, ooh, ooh.
We did talk about Josh, our web guy. This company's not just me. There's several of us. The web guy said you need to do something for the 10,000. You should do a one-chip challenge or something. Jacob was like, I'll throw up. Well, if they can't.
I think any normal person would say, fuck no. I'm not. It doesn't make me weird that I don't want to do the one chip challenge and just ruin the rest of my week. There's no way. But I am a pussy when it comes to hot stuff. I just transitioned from mild to hot at Taco Bell a few years ago. It's a great transition, but I really got to be careful. I can't use the whole packet on a taco. It's like I got to go to about 75%. And once I get charged up on spicy food.
Charged up on spicy food.
It's no bueno, amigo.
Easy. $10 super chat from Prominent. Congrats on 10,000 subs. Very appreciated. 100% genuinely appreciated. We did it very, very quickly. It's been about 2 years. I think it's been 2 years. So in 2 years, we went from 0 to 10,000. And I'm proud of us. We've evolved. We have fresh content 7 days a week. We have a call-in show. Premium members can call in. All these nasty live stream comments, you could just say it on the phone to us on Thursday nights. We've done a lot. We appreciate every single one of you, even the ones that I shit on for basic math and stuff like that. All of you are genuinely appreciated. And Prominent Talent, you like every single picture we put on the Instagram, so thank you for that as well. Next up, at UFC 284, we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Yair Rodrigues taking on Josh Emmett. And this is for the interim featherweight belt because Volkanovski's given it up to go up to fight in the main event for the lightweight belt.
Has he given it up or did they tell him to give it up? There's a big difference.
I don't know the difference. I think they.
It's not. No, he's not giving it up. It's the interim belt.
Yeah, it's just an interim belt. I just meant like he's not.
Oh my God! You threw me for a loop there. I was like, wait a second. There's no way Volk would just give up his goddamn.
No, it
belt.
was more because he's not moving to 55. He just,
Oh my God!
My bad. Poorly chose words there, but you get the point. They need to move on with the division since he'll be out of commission, win or lose, for 5-6 months. Yair Rodrigues 14-3 overall, 3-1-1 in his last 5, and he's coming off that freak win over Brian Ortega. Josh Emmett 18-2 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. He's coming off a fight of the night win over Calvin Kattar. This is another one of those controversial fights where a lot of people are split. A lot of different takes here. I personally am on the Josh Emmett side, but Yair Rodrigues, he's a fun, athletic guy. Spin kicks, wild aggression. He will just basically do anything that he wants to on his feet, and he'll do it somewhat effortlessly. He does not have the best takedown defense, but he works his way up really well, and he's got submissions that he can threaten with to create those scrambles and work his way back up. He has had a weird couple of years. He had a 2-year layoff. Then he came back. He fought Max Holloway in an absolute banger of a fight, but he did lose that fight. He was taken down a few times. And then after that, he fought Brian Ortega in a main event. Brian Ortega's knee blew out. That fight, shoulder blew out. And we didn't get to see anything on it. So when we look at Yair Rodrigues' 3-1, it's actually 3-1-1 in his last 5. If you look at his last year, the dude has 1 win, and it was a freak win. So very spotty record as of late. Josh Emmett, 18-2 overall. He's on a wild streak, a 5-fight win streak. And the dude is a wrestler. He's a wrestler at his heart. He's a wrestler at his core who has not been wrestling. He's coming forward, throwing hands. He fell in love with his power. This is like what I hate for all wrestlers. Fell in love with his power and is now just coming forward, throwing bombs. He's not wrestling as much as he should be. He has 11 knockdowns in 10 fights. He has very real power in his hands. Jacob, you disagree. You can talk about that in a minute. But he has 11 knockdowns in 10 UFC fights. He comes forward, bombs away, occasionally works in a takedown attempt. He was not able to take Calvin Kattar down, but he did shoot 3 takedowns. But Calvin Kattar has phenomenal takedown defense. Yair Rodrigues, on the other hand, does not. So I think Josh Emmett can get this done. I think he can come forward. I want him to mix in the takedowns because if he does not even attempt takedowns and if he doesn't get Yair guessing on his feet, then he's going to be on the wrong side of some spins and some kicks and he's going to be in some trouble. I do have a half a unit money line bet on Josh Emmett. I got it at plus 135. It's better odds now. Last week I was behind all the odds, but I hit every single bet I put on the board. I'm hoping for the same now. I think Josh is going to get it done, but I fully recognize how dangerous Yair Rodrigues is, but I also think people are giving him a little too much credit considering in the last 2 years the dude's won 1 single fight, and it was a freak accident. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is a close fight. A lot of question marks on this fight. I don't have any action on either side, so even I'm going to pick Yair, but even at these odds, I'm not confident enough to put it on Yair. I think that this is I agree with what you said in the wrestling department. If Josh Emmett comes in with a wrestle-heavy game plan, that's as easy as path to victory. The only issue is he's never really done that of late, and I don't expect him to do it in a title fight against a guy like Yair. I think this looks pretty similar to the Calvin Kattar fight. It's going to be Josh Emmett pressuring, walking with that right hand cocked. He's going to throw it. He might land it a couple times. The difference is Calvin Kattar was dancing around and was comfortable enough to just pump out the jab, right? Because, I mean, you saw what he did to Josh Emmett's face, and some people thought he even won that fight because he was so effective with that jab. Calvin Kattar was having such good success with that jab. He was just boom, pump it out, and I think I can win the fight this way. Yair, on the other hand, is a guy that will dance around with the Emmett pressure. He's not just going to throw jabs out. I mean, he is going to match the power of Emmett with extended combos that Calvin Kattar couldn't really do to sway the judges enough, because we saw Emmett was throwing power shots, and Calvin was countering with the jabs, but when push came to shove, it was Emmett with the pressure, and it was Emmett with the more powerful shots. Yair is going to match those power shots with his wild extended combos. I think this is a decision fight, and when it comes down to a decision fight, you have to understand how do fighters fight in the judges' minds, right? So the judges are going to see Emmett doing what he does, the same as last fight. Pressure, right hand, right hand. The difference is Yair is a judge's dream. He is in a close decision fight. He is a judge's dream because he does the wild stuff. He gets the oohs and ahs. It looks like he's doing much more damage than even he's doing because of the way he throws strikes and the wild striking combos. So when you're judging a fight, and some of these rounds are probably going to be very, very close. When the judges, remember, they're stupid. The stupid fucking judges, when they're getting ready to write down a 10, the last thing they're going to remember is going to be that Yair spinning whatever. It's going to be that Yair, the up elbow, the whatever, the big head kick, whatever it is. So in a decision fight, I feel that Yair is going to be able to have the optics of being the better fighter and the more efficient fighter in this matchup. So I got to go with Yair, but I agree. If Emmett wants to come in and try and be a bully and push him around, hold him against the fence. We saw Ortega was holding Yair against the fence before the eventual whatever it was. That's his best path. If it's a decision striking matchup, Yair is just way too creative, and he's going to win that decision 6, 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah, listen, I don't. I'm not going to scream and yell and any of that. I think a lot of my.
I wouldn't talk to me that way either, because what happened? Like, damn.
It's so funny. I don't know what it is about our cameras, but people are convinced you're not short. I don't know how you pulled it off.
I mean, someone literally said that was being a troll earlier. They literally said, you guys are tough internet guys. I would fight Angelo, but probably not Jacob. And I agree. Holy shit.
I mean, people, I don't know what the camera angle is, and I really could give a shit. I care less that
it bothers you. I mean, you're talking about
well,
it. So
no, that's what I was going to say. I don't care. I don't care if people think I'm short. It drives me nuts that they don't know that you actually are. That's
no. I mean, you want to talk about you want to act like we don't have like a romantic relationship. It's more fake.
What a deflection that is.
It's more fake that I'm short. It's more fake. It is more likely that me and you are involved very sexually and romantically than I am actually short.
Okay, I guess I'm going to have to take more weird incognito pictures of you standing next to random objects so we can get a
objects, not people. Just remember, guys, when this vlog drops, there's going to be a guy in the video that is 6'10", and I swear to God, he is all of 6'10". So if you see me in this video next to this dude, I am not 5'6". I'm not even 5'8", 5'9". This dude is 6'10", and he's gonna. I mean, it's not gonna look good. So just so you guys know. In Jacob's defense, Bo, who called into our call-in show, he will be here for the fights. Anybody who doesn't know, we're going to film, Jacob's going to film his whole day leading up to the fights. I'm going to film my whole day, and then we're going to film us hanging out, watching the fights. And we're going to turn it into something, we'll try to make it something fun, something special. It will turn into something. And me and Bo, I was like, dude, this is the plan. This is the plan. You're going to stand next to me. He's not 6'10". He's like 6'8". I was like, you're going to stand next to me, just slouch down a little bit. I'm 6'3". Slouch down a little bit so it looks like we're the same height, right? We'll do that for the camera. We won't make it obvious. Then go stand next to Jacob, and it's going to be, the gap is going to be insane. I'm like, Jacob's going to be self-aware enough to not let me stand directly next to him. But he'll let you stand next to him. So I mean, I don't care if I stand next to him.
That was our plan.
That dude's 6'10" and you're 6'5". I mean, if I'm 5 inches shorter than you, I'm that's a tall human being. You know, the average height of a U.S. male is like 5'8". I'm way taller than that. If you're 5'8", I'm looking at you like this. How you doing, little guy?
No, sure. I bet you are.
I pat you on the head. Every 5'8" guy that comes up to me, I'm like, hey, how you doing, buddy? Hey, good seeing you. Rub his head a little bit.
This is small guy energy. This is bagel boss energy, Jacob. Anyway,
you're gonna spend it. People called you the bagel boss.
They did because I have
the same attitude. That's the same range. I know that.
Yeah. Do you have? You gonna spend the $8,500 in DraftKings?
I don't trust either one of these guys.
I think Josh is worth the 77, but you look a little closer and he's not. As dumb as that sounds. At $7,700, in theory, Josh Emmett, like, wow, he could win this fight. He's got all these tools, etc. But then you dig in a little deeper, the dude does not score well in DraftKings. Because it's just big punching, big loops coming forward, not really getting the finishes, not getting the takedown. So he does not score well, even though he has 5 full rounds. So unfortunately, I will not be spending the money on Josh, even though I do think he wins.
Cool.
Next up, at UFC 284, we have the main event of the evening. The UFC is billing it as the number 1 pound for pound versus the number 2 pound for pound. Who's number 1? Volk?
He is number 1. I can't believe you really didn't put the belt picture on here. I thought you were kind of
I did not. No, because Volkanovski's not. So you notice Volkanovski doesn't have the belt here. This is not belt versus belt. He's going up. He's just a contender at 55. If this was the interim title or unifying the interim, and then I would do belt and belt. So I had to go back. We got a picture of Volk with some hair because this is the last time he didn't have the belt. I keep these graphics authentic.
I didn't realize he had chest hair like that.
Now you change.
That's like some man chest hair too. That's good looking. It's good looking chest hair.
I agree.
Oh,
we have Islam Makhachev taking on Alexander Volkanovski for the 155-pound belt. Both of these guys have only one single loss in their career, and both of them were a very, very long time ago. Islam Makhachev, as we know, dominant wrestler with underrated hands. I just rewatched that fight with Oliveira. His hands look pretty good in that fight. He dropped, and I know everybody drops Oliveira, blah, blah, blah. He dropped Oliveira with a right hook, and then that's what started that exchange, which got him this submission win. His takedowns are fantastic. His jiu-jitsu is fantastic. He does have solid striking as well. Alexander Volkanovski is good everywhere, busy everywhere, nonstop cardio, nonstop pace. We've seen this man fight for 25 minutes more times than we haven't. And he just comes forward busy, making something happen. Busy. The reality is, yes, he has a 73% takedown defense. Yes, he has an incredible 7 significant strike per minute offense. He averages 2 of his own takedowns per 15 minutes. This is all very impressive. But he was taken down multiple times by Brian Ortega, who has a 23% takedown accuracy. Very simply, if Brian Ortega is taking Alexander Volkanovski down, so is Islam. The biggest issue in this fight is Alexander Volkanovski is not dangerous. He doesn't have one-punch knockout power. He doesn't have the submission, the catch you in a submission type threat. And that's the problem here. And I said this in Quick Picks. I do believe Alexander Volkanovski is or will be the greatest 145-pounder of all time. But that is an independent statement from Islam Makhachev is going to beat the absolute shit out of him and win this fight. Islam Makhachev wins this fight. I think it's very dominant. I have 3 units on him. I got it at minus 330. That bet has been sitting there for premium members for like 2 months. It's been a while that has been sitting there. If you're a premium member, you saw that. Hopefully this is one that you tailed because now it's minus 400. That will continue to move. If you're not a premium member, become one now at WeWantPicks.com. It is only $10 a month. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, let me first start by saying the UFC countdown. If you watch that, it's very good with Islam and Alex. I watched that and I was like, holy shit, Alex is going to win this fight. Like, just the way that his confidence and the way that he talks and stuff about this fight is absolutely incredible. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, wait a second. I think that Volkanovski's confidence in this fight is going to be his downfall because he's not going to fight this fight as desperate as I think he needs to because he truly believes, and I really do truly believe that he truly believes that he can win this fight just straight up. He can outfight this guy Islam. And I think if you're going to fight Islam, you need to take some chances, right? You need to put yourself in positions you're not normally in, especially like a guy like Volk, because Volk is a very technical guy. He's super good everywhere, but you can't fight a Volk fight versus a guy like Islam. And if he thinks, hey, I'm the better fighter, I can beat this guy, and he tries to just copy and paste these fights he's been fighting against a guy like Islam, it's just straight up just not going to work because Islam is just so much better on the ground. You need to take chances in these fights. And as you mentioned, he's not a take a chance type of guy. And I know he's been saying I need to make him pay on the feet, but everyone knows that when you're fighting a guy like Khabib or a guy like Islam, I got to make him pay on the feet. It just doesn't work that way. You just don't have those opportunities because of the pressure that Islam and those guys possess. But I will say, my pick's going to be Islam in this fight. I don't think he mauls him. I'm starting to warm up to the idea that, end of the 3rd round, into the 4th round, Volkanovski just had too much and eventually gets finished, even though he is a tough guy. So my pick is Islam. I don't know if it's a mauling, but I will say this. And this is just me kind of just thinking, rambling on about stuff that I see in my mind. Islam is not Khabib. And what I mean by that is he's not as straight as a straightened arrow as Khabib. Khabib had a plan. He's going to stick to the plan. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. Very stair-step, very serious guy, this and that. Islam's a little bit more of a wild card. And if you guys know his personality, he's kind of enjoying this, right? He's enjoying being this guy, the superstar he's becoming. He enjoys the fame more than Khabib. Khabib seems a little bit more humble, and I could be completely wrong about this, but he just seems like he enjoys these moments a little bit more. And I don't know if he's taking Volkanovski as serious as Khabib would in a situation like this. It shouldn't matter because he is that much more dominant, but Khabib's not in his corner. Khabib usually walks him through pretty much every single step. And Javier, his head coach, has only been with him for the last week and a half. He's been doing his own thing the whole camp in Dagestan, which obviously it shouldn't matter. Honestly, he's that much better than Volk. But there's just something weird about this fight. And they always say the toughest fight is the first defense, right? So I'm not saying anything about I think that Volk can win. I'm not trying to allude to that. But I'm just saying, Islam's a little bit more of a wild dude. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't shoot a takedown in the first round because he thinks that he can knock Volkanovski out and he's the better striker. And he's just wild enough to stand and bang for a first round. So I think the first round could be competitive. And then Islam kind of does his thing and takes over. So long story short, it's Islam,
Yeah, we're aligned here. $9,500 in DraftKings. I think you have to do it. He could win by stoppage. And if he doesn't get a stoppage, it'll be a very high-scoring 5-round fight. Right, because he will get the takedowns, he will get the control time, and your fat ass dog's eating again. So at 7:30 and 9:30, how many times a day does that dog eat?
At 4:30, at 10:30, at 7:30, at 9:30.
Why would you go 4:30, 10:30?
Because she had an issue for a long time to where when she was hungry, she would throw up. So I had
4:30 a.m.
Yeah, so I had to stagger meals so when she wouldn't throw up. But now it seems like it's not as big of an issue, but that was the issue. She literally would just throw up when she was hungry.
Yeah, I remember that whole thing. Are you going to spend I'm spending $9,500 in DraftKings, are you?
Yeah, because he's going to get a million takedowns. Because Volkanovski's one of those dudes that probably will get back to his feet. He is good enough and he's strong and stuff. He's probably gonna get back to his feet. And this could be. This honestly might be a takedown record because Volkanovski's durable. He doesn't get tired. He's gonna work back to his feet every single opportunity because he wants to prove I can get back to my feet. And Islam could just boom, boom, boom. This literally could end up being 10+ takedowns for Islam during this fight. And that's like a credit to Volkanovski, honestly, if he does get that many takedowns. But yeah, I think it's I'll use him in my lineup probably.
Yeah, it'll be a fun fight. I'm genuinely looking forward to it. And listen, I don't want to lose money. I want to win money. I want to give you guys money with the bets. It would be a sight to see if Volk wins. It would be amazing.
And I love Islam. I've been on the Islam train for a long time. I used to watch the AKA videos, like the vlogs that when DC was fighting, they would have it with him and Khabib. And Islam was always there because he's just attached to the hip with Khabib. And Islam spoke like zero. And this one, Khabib barely spoke English. And Islam spoke like zero English. But every time he spoke in English and said something, it was like the funniest shit in the world. Islam is absolutely hilarious. He's got a lot of personality. I absolutely love the guy, but I'll be rooting for Volk for the upset for sure.
Yeah, I think us and most people, I'm actually surprised the line is where it is. So I see a bunch of people picking Volk, but not nearly as many as I would have assumed. Right? I
actually thought this line would be -500, -600.
That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised it's not wider. I meant to say there's more people picking Volk than I would have assumed. But I also feel like a lot of people picking him, I guarantee you Alexander Volkanovski. It's like, all right, you're just saying that to be like, nobody. How could you guarantee that?
If you're saying Islam has no personality, you literally you've never watched anything about Islam. The dude's he's hilarious.
Yeah, that dude's full-blown troll. Don't even bother. Literally full-blown troll. To the point where it's like he may just get hidden from the channel because you don't add anything positive, you don't get to stay. Anyway, we're aligned here. We've got the bets. I do think Islam's a parlay piece, but I think you have to do it now. I think the most popular parlay is probably Islam and Jack Della Maddalena. Depending on the live movement there, maybe you do, maybe you don't want to do that. Or you
can just do the Russians. You can do Islam and Zuba. It's probably a decent one.
I wouldn't put Zuba in a parlay, but I hear you. Roll your fucking eyes. Guys, WeWantPicks.com, become a premium member. I know I say it a lot, but frankly, the value is incredible. And in all seriousness, you get all the picks, all the bets, a DraftKings optimizer. You get the line movement tracker. You get DFS cheat sheets. Those are new within the last 2 months. They are literally cheat sheets for DraftKings and FanDuel with projected ownership, projected scoring, and leverage. Leverage is a proprietary calculation. We've got a guy. He put together the calculation. And leverage, there's an explanation on there on how to use it. You can use it to separate yourself from the pack in the large tournaments and things like that. It is the greatest value in this space, and we are adding more and more to it every single month. I am 100% positive there will never, ever be a reason to sign up for any dumb dicks Patreon or anybody else trying to push a premium. I'm positive. Because I'm going to keep it at $10. I'm going to keep adding that value. And it's going to get to the point where we're going to have 10,000 premium members. And this is not pipe dreams. We're at 1,500. Premium has only existed since August. We will be at 10,000 and nobody else will survive in this space. That is what we are doing. WeWantPicks.com at the top. Click become a member. If you want $50 on a lighter note, I will send you $50. All you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. We have 4 different affiliate betting partners. Click on their link, make a deposit using their link, and I'll send you $50 as a thank you. It's literally that simple. They give us money, and then I'm going to share it with you, A, to encourage you to sign up, and B, we genuinely love our community. Why would I not share some of that wealth back? And we have some pretty slick merch. Shop.WeWantPicks.com. Jakey boy, any last words for the peeps?
If you guys don't mind, if you guys have been in here, and we appreciate every single one of you, especially everyone that's been donating, all the premium members, on your way out, if you don't mind slapping that like button, we would appreciate that. And I just appreciate everyone being here and everyone that's been supporting the channel as a whole, and especially all you guys that have been in the live streams. I know the live stream kind of ended abruptly last time, and I just want to say thank you for all that support as well.
Did it? I didn't watch. I went to bed.
The last fight was Jekka, and that's just sometimes God has a different plan for all of us. You think you're on one path, and God has a different plan, and we're just on His time, and we'll see where He takes us.
Well, we have a Canadian super chat, $14 from Tim C. Boys, 2-piece. 1. Can Volk out-volume Islam?
No.
Yes.
No.
Out-volume?
He's going to get taken down. No, he's going to get out-volume.
All right. I guess, if you're factoring the takedowns. But he throws 6 strikes for every 2 that Islam throws. So I should have just said 3-1. And then 2 is Islam versus Hamzat at 170, not the ultimate super fight should Islam win. I don't think Chimaev will ever make his big ass back down to 170.
I think he's going to. He's going to fight. Kim mentioned this as well.
What?
There was a certain member of former UFC that is back that signed some sort of exclusive deal for a fight, and he actually would be a decent opponent. I think Chimaev smokes him, but it'd be a lot of fun because I actually like this guy. Nobody likes this guy, but I like him. Kevin Lee, Motown, baby. He's back. He's fighting at welterweight. Chimaev versus Kevin Lee. Nobody else wants to fight Chimaev, so if Kevin Lee comes back, gets a payday, fights him.
I thought Chimaev was already at 185. All right, we'll talk about this on Thursday. We have a live call-in show on Thursday. Call in. Thank you very much for the super chat. Guys, on Thursday, we will be live, and we will literally let you on the stream, taking calls, stuff like that. Premium members only, because we got to weed out the riffraff.
By the way, Kevin Lee smokes Chimaev.